Hey Froggy friends, Kirostyle here, welcome back to Umineko When They Cry, Episode 4, Alliance of the Golden Witch. Thank you so much for joining me here on stream. Hey everyone, hey Hakaze, hey Jason, good to see you. So, in the previous stream, we just started Episode 4, and Episode 4 is a little bit different because we were finally introduced to Ange, who is from the future and is trying to prevent these Rokenjima murders from happening by helping Badler in his fight against Beatrice. Now, Ange cannot reveal herself to Badler, so for now she's using the name Gretel, and we're seeing events unfold on Rokenjima. So the siblings are suspicious that Kinzo has actually been dead this whole time, and that Kraus and Natsuya have been hiding it. Badler also seems to agree, using it as part of his argument against the 18 people on the island rule. Now, Kraus and Natsuya, of course, deny this, and then they actually go and ask Kinzo to come join them for the family conference, which he actually agrees to at the end. Beatrice has also granted Badler the use of the Blue Truth, which is kind of like a special kind of truth that Badler could use that can only be destroyed by the Red Truth, but the Blue Truth is basically like how he formally presents his theories. Back in Ange's time, it's a little bit more confusing because we're kind of split between a past and a present for her too. So we're seeing flashbacks of Ange growing up in school, in the boarding school. She has Maria's diary, and Maria's diary contains like a fragment of Maria's soul, so she's able to talk to like a ghostly Maria, who then tells Ange stories about her childhood. In the present day, Ange has met with the current president of the Ushimiya company, who is President Okudogi, and he gives her some advice, and then she is chased by her aunt Kasumi, who is Kirie's younger sister, who is the head of the Sumadera family, which has a rivalry with the Ushimiyas and wants Ange out of the picture so they could take her wealth now that Ava's gone. So she's running away from Kasumi, and she has the help of a bodyguard named Amakusa, who is hired by President Otonogi. So that's kind of where we're at now. This episode feels a little bit disjointed, in my opinion, because of all the different time periods going on at different times and flip-flopping between them. It adds a lot of important backstory for characters like Ange and Maria, but at the same time, I don't know, it doesn't really do the same thing narratively, but I guess we'll see. Oh yeah, we were also introduced to Maria's stuffed animal, Sakataro, who's like a cute little stuffed lion that Rosa made for Maria on one of her birthdays that she carries around with her, but she's not allowed by Rosa to take it out of the house, because Rosa's afraid that people will judge Maria for being a 9-year-old girl with a stuffy outside of the house, which would reflect poorly on her. So, we're back here on Rokenjima, it seems, and Rosa and Maria have just kind of entered the mansion after being stuck in the rain. Forcefully opening the door with a clunk, Rosa flew in with Maria. Is Genji-san or anyone there? It doesn't matter who, bring us a bath towel. Hey Lazard, welcome to the stream. Thank you so much for coming by. Thank you so much for calling Kirby. Hey little guy. There was already a full-blown typhoon outside. It was starting to pour down hard. Even though she had an umbrella, Maria had been in the rose garden amid all that wind and rain the whole time. She had grown ice cold. Maria had gotten into a minor fight with Rosa in the rose garden and had been told to stay there. She had done as she was told and had continued to wait in that spot even though rain was pouring down. Rosa certainly had gotten a little emotional and angry, but Maria's stubborn whim was probably more to blame. The cousins who had seen that exchange were relieved to see that mother and child were close to each other again. Rosa scrubbed Maria's head with a towel. She seemed overcome with worry that Maria had caught a cold, but Maria herself was nonchalant. Are you okay? You didn't catch a cold, did you? Maybe we really should go back for now and get a change of clothes. I'm just fine. More importantly, I'm hungry, so food's better than changing clothes. She looks okay, Aunt Rosa. She's gotta be if she's this spirited. It's really a good thing she had an umbrella. I was thinking she might be soaked to the bone. The fact that she had an umbrella certainly is a silver lining. But Maria, even if you have an umbrella, you've gotta get to shelter when it starts raining so hard, okay? Little girls definitely shouldn't let their bodies get cold. It's okay, Jessica-chan. It's Mama's fault for telling her to stay there. I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry. I'm a good girl. I'm a good girl for doing what Mama said. I stayed there even though it was cold. Stayed there until Mama came. Yes, you really are a good girl, Maria. You did exactly what Mama said. Very well done. But next time, even if Mama tells you to do something, find some shelter if it starts raining like that. Okay? Promise Mama. Promise Mama. As Rosa gently held Maria, they joined their pinkies together and promised. Adler and the others realized that by touching her mother's pinky, the warmth had started to return to Maria's body. Kanin-kun, thanks for the towel. That really helped. Then, if you would excuse me. As Kanin bowed with a blank expression, as though he'd done nothing that required gratitude, he left the parlor. Okay, it's already dinner time. Let's all go together. I'll even give Maria my dessert for being so good. Really, Mama? Get dessert, Love Mama, love Mama. Hey, Maria, don't jump around. Mama loves you too, Maria. Love Maria, love Maria. I love Mama too, love Mama. Rosa and Maria looked really close. Even the cousins who watched started to feel a long-forgotten warmth fill up their chests. You know, that might be the age when you're on your best terms with your parents. It wasn't like that for me. Mom was always yelling at me to study, study, study. That's because they love their children. A parent's love isn't always gentle and indulgent. My mother was strict with me too, but now I realize that it was because she treasured me so. Hey Lork, welcome to the stream. Thank you so much for coming by. Hello. Good to see you. Love Mama, love Mama. Love Maria, love Maria. So, shall we get some food? Let's be friends and hold hands. Be friends and hold hands. Mama and me, friends, friends. Yes, that's right. Mama and Maria are friends. We'll always be like this. I love you, Maria. What's going on all of a sudden? What's up? The sudden sound had come from the teacup Gretel had been holding, which had fallen and smashed. Sorry. I got careless. Sorry for dropping it. The cup on the floor had smashed to pieces. Would it really have made such a sound and smashed to pieces just by being dropped from that height? Even someone as thick-headed as Balor could realize that she was in a bad mood over something, but he couldn't understand why she had suddenly grown so displeased. When she made to bend over and pick up the fragments of the cup, Ronov appeared out of nowhere and stopped her. You will injure yourself. Leave the cleaning up to me. Shall I bring you another cup of black tea? I don't need it. I guess a demon's black tea just doesn't match my tastes. Huh. To think there's someone whose tastes aren't satisfied even by Ronov's tea. I must respect your discerning palate. I'm getting bored, so I'll go out for a second. Bored? Wait a sec, this is where things start to get interesting. About now, Maria's probably gonna say that she got an umbrella and a letter from Beatrice again, right? This is the essential part. Excuse me. Sorry, I'm counting on you to clean this up. Leave it to me. Without saying anything else, Gretel disappeared of her own accord. Her form literally melted and disappeared into thin air. There was definitely a displeased expression on her face. But neither Balor nor Ronov, and of course not Bito either, could understand why her mood had suddenly worsened. All that remained was the scent of the black tea she'd spilled. I don't like it. No, to be more blunt, it disgusts me. Why are you so irritated, Ange? Why, you say? Isn't it obvious? I don't understand. Even Maria One-chan, with that blank expression on her face, irritated me. As I held my hands palms up in the empty air from out of nowhere, a single book landed on them. It was Maria One-chan's diary. Even though I didn't turn the pages, The pages were flipped through, despite there being no wind, and the door to Maria One-chan's world opened. Why do you think I'm not happy, Ange? Think about it objectively. By objectively, you mean from your viewpoint, right? Are you trying to say that the truth is different from me and you, Maria One-chan? Truth can change its form depending on the observer, and observers from the future always overwrite that form. Ange, what are you trying to do to my happiness? The pages of the diary were flipped through at greater and greater speeds. Then a brilliant light poured out from the depths of the diary, swallowing everything up and painting over everything with white. Sorry, Maria. Mama has to take care of some urgent business that's piled up, so I need you to stay holed up at the company for a while. I probably won't be able to come home until late at night, the day after tomorrow. Then what about your promise to go to the movies with me on Sunday? The movies? Judging by Rosa's tone, she had clearly forgotten that promise. But Maria's response to that was an apology for asking. I'm sorry. Maria apologized for troubling her mother by asking that question. I'll stay home. I'll definitely wait patiently. I'll take a bath every day and change my underwear. And I know where the money is. I'll go to a different store every day. I'll try not to go out too late. If a policeman asks, I'll say I'm running errands for Mama. I'll do what Mama says, like Mama says. That's right. You really are being a good girl. If you do that, I'll buy you a present. Okay? Go to bed by 9 o'clock. You mustn't tell the teacher or any adults that Mama isn't coming home. Okay? Yes. So Mama, do your best at work. Do your best, finish your work, and come back as soon as you can. I won't cry all night and annoy the neighbors anymore. So come back quickly. Well then, I'm busy, so I'll hang up. Be a good girl and wait. Don't do anything you shouldn't. Goodbye. With a tone of finality in her voice, Rosa hung up the phone without waiting for Maria's answer. Maria politely set down the receiver and returned to the sofa. There sat the stuffed animal Sakataro, with whom she'd been watching TV until a second ago. Sakataro was holding the remote control to the TV. The TV had been turned off because of the phone call. He looked like he was telling her to push the switch, because he wanted to watch TV again quickly. Sakataro, wanna watch TV? Do you? You don't want to watch anymore, Maria? If the actors team gets all the questions right, they can still make a huge comeback. Do you? No. That's enough TV. Again, Mama was busy with her work and didn't come home. Mama works so much overtime that she doesn't come home until late. Because she has dates or something, she always comes home after drinking a lot of alcohol, even though she's not good at drinking. With a pale face, she'll go straight into the shower and then to bed. And because she has overtime even on the weekends or something, she says she has to spend the night there and almost never comes home. Recently, she started saying something about how she's got a big job she's working on, so this sort of thing happens a lot. The pictures I did my best on during drawing time were laughed at by everyone, but even so, I want to show them just to Mama, and once again, she won't be able to look at them for me. And I could talk about the time everyone pushed the job of cleaning up onto me. I did my best by myself and was praised by the teacher. Or the time I went shopping, and the man at the shop said I'm always such a good kid and gave me a free canned coffee. Then there was the time I wanted to encourage Mama because she worked so hard on her job, and hid a card for her under her pillow. And there's a lot of other things I want to talk about. Mama's working real hard at her job. She's working with all her strength so we can eat every day. I hate her job. If only she just quit. A job is an important thing for adults to do. It lets Maria eat, buys clothes, pays for school lunches, and pays the deposit for summer camp. All that happens because Mama works and earns money. I don't need food, don't need clothes, don't need school lunches, and don't want to go to summer camp. It's not like any of the groups will let me join in. Do you? Just now on the phone, Mama promised that she'd buy a present when she comes back from work, right? I think she made that promise because you're important to her, Maria. And she'd feel bad if she made you lonely. You think so? Do you? It definitely isn't a pain for her, or annoying, or anything. Mama also wants to be by your side all the time, Maria. It's also painful and sad for her, since she can't do that. I remember when she spent the whole night by your side crying. Yeah, I didn't understand why she was crying, but she was so sad, and I couldn't do anything but stay silent by her side. I remember the last thing Mama said then. She said, "Thank you, Maria." She said that just by being by her side, you were her only ally in the world. Do you remember? Yeah, I'm her only ally in the world, she said. Sakataro set the remote control on the table, crawled up onto the sofa, sat on my lap and spoke to me, gazing into my eyes. I'm sure Mama feels the same way you do, Maria. The designs Mama draws are the only ones laughed at by her clients. Only Mama's company has troublesome jobs pushed onto it by other companies. Mama is the president, so she has to take care of everything by herself. Only Mama's company never gets included in the business of other companies. Mama's only ally is Maria. If you tell her to stop doing her job, where in the world could she find an ally? Sakataro. The only person I have in the whole world is Maria. The only person Mama has in the whole world is Maria. What about you, Maria? I've got Mama, and I've got you too, Sakataro. So, Maria, you aren't lonely at all, do you? Since Mama's busy with her work, she can't be together with you very often, but please don't blame her for that, Maria. In exchange, I'll always be here. We'll be by your side forever. So don't cry, okay? Do you? Can't your sadness be stopped if I'm with you? Sakataro. ACB, welcome to the stream. Thank you so much for stopping by. Man, this scene is so sad considering that, like Maria is playing the part of Sakataro. Like, she is playing with her imaginary friend plushie, so she's the one saying all the other dialogue herself. So, like, she's like actually saying some really mature things to herself to try to comfort herself. That's so sad. From the corner of Maria's heart, which she had been doing her best to seal up, drops of sadness finally dripped down. Even though weekends when Mama didn't come home weren't that rare a thing, it wasn't as though the night was particularly painful or sad compared to other nights. And yet Maria's tears poured down. Do you? Maria, don't cry. I'll always be with you. Even if you cry, Maria, I won't. I'm a lion cub, so I won't cry even if I'm lonely. Even though I want to cry too, I won't. Why won't you cry, Sakataro? Even though you're so sad you can't hold back the tears, you won't cry? Do you? But if I cry, who will make you feel better? So I won't. After all, I want to get your spirits up. If I get my spirits up, will Mama come back? When Mama comes back, if she's welcomed by a happy Maria, I'm sure she'll be happy. Do you? Mama will be happy. Do you? If you do that, then I'm sure her fatigue from work will also be healed. Then I'm sure she'll start feeling better sooner. I will play with you a lot. When you come home and Mama's waiting for you there, and she's in the kitchen in high spirits, don't you feel really happy? I'm sure Mama feels the same way. So if I watch over the house in high spirits, Mama will be happy too? Do you? Sakataro nodded deeply with his big head. The tears couldn't keep falling from Maria's eyes. If she greeted Mama with a tear-stained face, Mama would probably get sad too. You know about it, Maria. You can't use the magic that creates smiles if you aren't smiling too. Yeah, I know. So I won't cry anymore. Hey, Maria. I have an idea for how to have a fun time. Do you? Want to hear it? What? Mama won't come back until late Sunday, so let's have a pajama party and keep it a secret from Mama. A pajama party? Until you get tired late tonight, Eat candy and drink soda in bed and play with me. A pajama party? Yeah, sounds fun. I don't have to go to bed at 9 o'clock, right? Mama won't get mad if I don't sleep. This is a secret between me and you. Only for when Mama isn't around. So tonight, until you get sleepy, let's have fun the whole time. Let's eat jelly beans and try to guess what color we'll get next. Let's split open peanuts and try to guess which half is the grandpa. Let's search for treasure in the closet. And more, and more. I wonder what it'll taste if we mix cola and melon soda. I wanted to try it once, but asked Mama if it was okay and she got mad. Let's keep it a secret from Mama and try it out. Tonight, let's play a lot, laugh a lot, and blow away our tears with happiness. Don't worry, it'll definitely be fun if I'm here. I'll definitely make you happy, Maria. Yeah. It'll definitely be fun if Sakataro's there. I'll definitely be happy. Thank you, Sakataro. I won't cry anymore. Let's play all we can, get happy all we can, and say welcome back when Mama gets home. Right, it's like episode 1 and 2 Maria's like, what a brat, I can't stand this girl, she's creepy, she's weird. Episode 3, 4 Maria's like, oh, we gotta protect her. Again, Umineko does so much of like playing with your hearts, with characters that you'll like, and then you'll hate later, and then characters that you hate, and then you end up kind of liking, or at least feeling empathy for them later. So messed up. That's what I like about it though. Tonight let's play a lot and feel a lot better. Let's have the kind of secret party we can only have when Mama isn't here. If we're noisy enough, I'm sure plenty of friends will come to play from the land of the Looking Glass and Wonderland. Then we'll have so many friends that we won't be able to get bored. Do you? Then Maria began her pajama party all alone with Sakataro, having fun until late into the night. She played by sticking her hand into the bag of jelly beans without looking, trying to guess what color she'd pull out next. Sakataro had good intuition and got it right a lot. Maria also had a brilliant streak where she guessed right 4 times in a row. The game where she split peanuts open and tried to guess which one was the grandpa was easier than guessing the color of jelly beans, so she got it right a lot. Sucking her salt-covered fingers was impolite, but that was the yummiest part. She liked both cola and melon soda on their own. She hoped that by mixing her 2 favorite drinks there might be a flash of light like alchemy, and a new drink that no one had ever tasted before would be created. She got excited about how, if it turned out really delicious, she'd call it Sakataro soda and sell it. But unexpectedly it had a weird taste that she hadn't hoped for, and the color was somewhat dull and thick. Maybe I shouldn't have been surprised that black and green mixed together would make this. Too bad, I imagined it'd become a sparkling pineapple color. But it was an awesome, incredible, fun night. If it's this fun here, maybe Mama will feel like coming home and drop by out of the blue. So I got the feeling that Mama might suddenly come home and went to the front door many times to check. But there was no way Mama would be able to come home when she was this busy with work. But rather than a feeling of loneliness, it felt just a little disappointing that Mama couldn't join in on this fun late night party. Sometime soon, I'll do this when Mama is around and let her join in. Mama likes some things I don't think are yummy, so maybe she'll really like Sakataro soda. When Mama comes back tired, I'll serve her some. And more than anything, I want to at least write about this fun night in a letter and tell Mama about it. So these feelings of happiness will reach Mama too. Her work is always so tough. She comes home so tired, so I hope I can share this happiness with her. Mama will almost certainly come home tired late Sunday night, and I hope I can brighten her day even just a little by sharing this happiness. I gently placed that letter on Mama's desk. To Mama, good job with your work again today. Let me share my happiness with you. From Maria. Hey, Zerdane! Welcome to the stream. Thank you so much for dropping by. Hope you're having a good weekend. Then I decided to give a present to Sakataro for proposing this wonderful party. It was a small red muffler I found when searching for treasure in the closet. When I was still very young, Mama knitted this tiny thing. Maria was embroidered on it with knitting wool. I softly wrapped that muffler around Sakataro. It really suited him, accenting his yellow with red very well. Do you? Does it look good on me? Sakataro looked embarrassed as he wore his first present ever. Yeah, it really looks good on him. Sakataro, thank you so much for everything. It was so fun tonight. I can't even remember why I was crying. Let's be together from now on, and let's always play and laugh together. Love you, Maria. Me too. Love you, Sakataro. After playing so wildly, Maria's room was a mess. Maybe she played a little too much. But I'm tired for today, so let's sleep together. And tomorrow we'll clean up together and welcome Mama with a clean room. Alright, Sakataro? See? I am. No, we are so happy, right? Is this your happiness, Maria-ne-chan? Yeah, I'm happy. Even though you were looking forward to that movie so much, and Aunt Rosa promised that she'd definitely take you, she completely forgot. She just happened to forget because she was so busy with work. Even if she remembered with her work, there'd be nothing she could do. Whether she remembered or not, Mama would have spent the night at work. She couldn't go to the movies. Whether she remembered or not is a minor issue. There's no way that's a minor issue. After all, when Aunt Rosa answered movie on the phone, it was obvious she'd completely forgotten her promise. When she heard that, Maria-ne-chan's mood definitely darkened. Well, like you said, even if Aunt Rosa had remembered her promise, you wouldn't have been able to go to the movies in the end. But even so, to think that your mother just forgot her promise to spend one of her few days off with you, it's sad. I'd be mad. Yeah, it was sad, because even if she had remembered, we wouldn't have been able to go to the movies. But after that, I had a very, very fun night with Sakataro. You must have thought that pajama party looked really fun too, Ange. There's no way that would be fun. I mean, all that messing around you did that night was just intentionally making a big fuss about nothing. Also, you could forget you were lonely and that your mother wasn't coming home. That's not true. I really did have a fun party with Sakataro. No, that's wrong. You were just so sad, and you hated your mother so much for forgetting your promise that you made a mess of your room. Where was something like that ever written in my diary? It isn't written anywhere. But by reading in the gaps between every line, I can understand your feelings. You didn't have a good time at all that evening. And you stayed up late when you were told not to, broke that strict rule about eating sweets outside of snack time. When even that didn't bury your sadness, you went wild in your room and made a mess of it, right? And after you made a mess of your room and were all tired out, all you did was claw the bed sheets and cry yourself to sleep, right? The diary does say that Mama probably forgot her promise about the movie, and that I stayed up late having a pajama party with Sakataro and made a mess of my room searching for treasure. Yes, and this is what it means. You were starving for Aunt Rosa's love, Maria-ne-chan. And Aunt Rosa always put her work and her public image first, always keeping you on the back burner. That's what disgusts me, because I know just how superficial Aunt Rosa's words of love for you were. You should realize this yourself. So how can you say you're happy despite that? I don't understand that part of you, Maria-ne-chan. Even at my age, I can't understand it at all. Why aren't you sad? Why is it you can experience a reality filled with misfortune and can call yourself happy? I can't do it. I can't understand it. You're a sad kid, Ange. I don't get it. Why are you pitying me? Even though a fact about a really fun pajama party is written about in my diary, if the same fact is observed by different people, it has a different form. I remember talking about something like this with Bern Castell. Truth is unfixed and changes its form every time it's witnessed. By the way it's perceived. In other words, depending on the person who perceives it, a single truth becomes different truths. And truths of the past are painted over by truths of the future. In this diary, I wrote that what happened that night was very, very fun. You described the events of that night as something very happy. And yet, when you read the diary, the events of that night sound very, very sad. Even though you describe it as a happy scene, I read between the lines and realized that wasn't true. Stop it. This tells of a happy night. This is the truth of that night. Please don't take this happy truth and paint over with a new, different truth. Are you happy with this, Maria-ne-chan? Yes, I'm happy. That's why I feel sad for you, since you won't be able to feel happiness in a similar situation. Right now, I'm just like she was then, just as isolated with no friends. Ange had accepted her isolated reality for what it was, but Maria painted over her isolated reality with the reality of happiness. Ushiomiya Maria took a sad truth and changed it into happiness. That was the only and yet very large difference between me and Maria-ne-chan. I love this conversation because it really highlights like one of the key themes of Umineko, as you see throughout all 8 episodes, is like, what is truth? Does truth have a fixed form? Does it change depending on who's perceiving it? And we're kind of starting to see more of that happening here, even with something as small and seemingly insignificant, like one night of Maria's life where Rosa didn't come home. And you'll see it start to blossom and touch on to other topics throughout the entire novel. And even though I'm unable to accept it, I'm also jealous of that power. Yes, that's right. This is power. I was able to find happiness with that power. Because you don't have that power, you can't find happiness, Ange. What is that power? I don't know what to call that power either. Not at this point in time, at least. Eventually, I was taught its true form. I'll talk about it later, on the next page. So then late Sunday night, Mama came back with a present, just like she promised. I'm back. Mama, welcome home. Who are you? Mama came back. Mama came back. Waiting to greet Rosa as she returned home all tired out was Maria in an unbelievably good mood holding Sakataro. Most likely, Rosa's worn-out expression was partly because she was really tired, but partly because it would be a pain when Maria, who should have been grumbling after staying home alone for several days, would cling to her, sobbing. However, when she was welcomed by an unbelievably happy Maria, and found that her fears were unbelievably needless, Rosa couldn't hide her surprise. What's going on, Maria? You're in a great mood. Is someone here? It was strange enough to make Rosa think that a friend had come over, and that she'd come home right when they were having a good time playing together. But there were no other shoes by the entrance. Even though Maria was in such high spirits, she had been home alone. At first, Rosa was suspicious that the cause of this unexpected good mood could be nothing good. That really was a needless fear. And in any event, Maria really had been in a good mood while she watched over the house. Even if Rosa's heart had been as cold and hard as a rock, after being welcomed with a smile like this, Rosa started to honestly accept that smile, and a smile rose to her own face automatically. In that smile, you could no longer see any of the weariness of someone who'd been unable to return home for several days. Maria kept talking about what a fun time she'd had playing with her stuffed animal Sakataro. Rosa really hadn't imagined that that stuffed animal she herself had given would be so appreciated, and she couldn't hide her pleased surprise. I see. So you spent the time together with Sakataro. Well done, Maria. Here's a present for Maria and Sakataro for being so good. Here, a present. A present. What is it? What is it? Both Maria and Sakataro started jumping around. There were 2 presents. One contained an assortment of Western sweets. Inside was a Scotch cake. It looked to be of very high quality. But Maria was more interested in the other one. The other one was an even bigger box and it was pretty heavy. Go ahead and open it. They might become new friends for you and Sakataro, okay? Wah! What's this? What's this? Inside, laid there like chess pieces, were about 20 small ceramic figures shaped like animals. Squirrels, rabbits, small birds, dogs, and cats. They were all holding musical instruments. In addition to them, there was also a panorama-style background. A forest scene was drawn on it. The small forest animals were gathered in a plaza and looked like they were having a good time. Hey Armand, welcome to the stream. Thanks for stopping by. Rosa set it up on the table, and when she lined them up, the ceramic figures like chess pieces in front of it, it became a band of forest animals. Isn't it wonderful? I saw it in a store window and I was taken with it at a glance. This is a present for you for being such a good girl home alone, Maria. Thank you, Mama. Awesome, Sakataro. Look how much our friends have grown. It's just like you said, Sakataro. It was true that if we had a fun, noisy time, we'd get more friends. Right? Didn't I tell you? Look, we have more friends. Look, we have more friends. Ooh. Relieved that her gift had been appreciated, Rosa remembered that she'd been filled with several days of weariness. Mama, you really worked hard. Go take a shower. If you take a hot one, I'm sure your weariness will go away. Want to take a bath? I'll choose what to put in the bath today. Thank you. But it's already late, so get ready to go to bed. Mama's tired, so I'll just take a shower, go to sleep. I have to get up early tomorrow. Yeah, got it. Here, Mama, I'll take your coat off. I can do that myself. Oh, thank you. Mama, your coat is full of smells from outside. Huh? Oh, sorry, something fell out. I'll pick it up, okay? When she took Rosa's coat, a receipt or a ticket stub or something fell out. It had been in Mama's pocket, so it was probably important. Maria hurriedly picked it up. It looked like a ticket for the green car or the Shinkansen or something. Atami? Wasn't that a place famous for its hot springs? At that moment, with a razor-sharp sound, the warm atmosphere shattered. Instead of Rosa, who had been there just a second ago, enjoying the gift with her daughter and recovering from her weariness with a long-awaited return home, there stood a person who looked exactly the same, who had a completely different, terrifying expression on her face. In her hand was a ticket stub that Maria had picked up. She had stolen it from Maria's hand in an instant. Just a few seconds too late, by the pain of her hand that had been hit, and her mother's expression. Maria realized that she must have done something wrong. But she didn't know what she had done that had gotten her in trouble. It was probably because of that ticket stub-like thing. Was she not supposed to touch it? Even though she had tried so hard to welcome Mama with fun and happiness, she had touched something important to Mama without asking, and had ruined that pleasant atmosphere. So Maria apologized immediately. Sorry. Even though she must have heard those words of apology, Rosa's expression actually darkened. Maybe those weren't the words she had been hoping for. Maria didn't know what to do and stared at her mother's reaction. Then, even though it should have been such an important ticket stub, Rosa crushed it up and hurried off to her room. Maria didn't really understand what she had done wrong. I must have done something I shouldn't have. That paper must have been something important for Mama's work. And I touched it without asking. You didn't do anything wrong, Maria. That's why tonight was so very happy. Yeah, happy. And when Mama takes a bath and clears her head, she'll go back to being the normal, nice Mama. So you mustn't worry about it. Do you? You're right. Mama's tired too. Mustn't worry about it. After all, we were so happy tonight. Do you? Just stop it. I can't watch this. And I think you're looking for happiness in the wrong way. You're the one who's wrong, One-chan. How can you call this happiness? It's so pitiful that I can't watch anymore. What is? That Mama suddenly got mad? That happens sometimes when humans get tired. Condemning a person because of a momentary misplaced emotion isn't very adult of you, Ange. That's a very mature sentence for you to say, Maria. I can't believe I'm hearing this from a 9-year-old. But that's not the problem. That ticket stub you picked up was clearly strange. What was? There was nothing strange about it, and it has nothing to do with the happiness of that night, right? Aunt Rosa called because she'd been staying over at her company because of work, right? Why, Atami? Isn't that what you call a vacation? It means she left you and went on a vacation, right? And you normally don't go on a vacation by yourself. Even if that was a ticket for Atami, that alone doesn't make it proof that Mama lied and went on a vacation, right? She lied on the phone, and then she changed her expression so drastically and grabbed it from you. What more proof could you want? It might have been from a business trip long ago, right? Or maybe she just happened to pick up some trash and put it in her pocket. It might have been a receipt from someone who worked for her who went on a business trip. In that case, it would be important for her work. It wasn't a toy, so I can understand why Mama took it away. This evidence you're talking about is only circumstantial. Imagination and delusions. I don't know why you're interpreting it in a way that makes our relationship worse. I'm the one who doesn't understand why you're interpreting it in a way that's so convenient for Aunt Rosa. As I thought, you're a pitiable child, Ange. Even though there are so many fragments lying about you that could make you happy, you can't find them. Instead, you only look at unhappy fragments and continue to get hurt. That's why you're scared of being hurt, and only start looking for happiness after you check to make sure there's nothing around you that could hurt you. When I talk with you, One-chan, it gets hard to tell which one of us isn't making sense. You know what? There's lots of happy and unhappy fragments, and they fill the world up. So people who can't find happiness right beside them won't be able to find it no matter how hard they look. Like Til and Mittel searching for the blue bird. Oh yeah, that story with a moral. You're the complete opposite, Ange. You're searching for a world without a fragment of unhappiness. But that's the same as the blue bird, so you'll be unable to find your happiness for all eternity. Is Battler Hansel, or is he the blue bird? Give it a rest already. In any event, I understand that a night of happiness was wasted because of a single scrap of paper. Sure is scary that a single scrap of paper could do that. In that case, maybe the power to get your happiness back can also lie in a single scrap of paper, right? Yeah, maybe the crown on Maria's head is like a microchip brain implant that makes her more intelligent and mature. She only seems to be wearing it when she's talking like that. Just when she'd finally been able to communicate with Maria after so long, Rosa's face twisted with a mixture of anger, sadness, and a fierce self-hatred as she flew into her room and closed the door. Maria's sorry had sliced into her chest sharper than a knife. At that time, she had noticed a cute envelope placed on her study table. It was probably something that had come with a girls' magazine. To Mama, let me share my happiness with you, it said. She took it, and after hesitating, opened it, and read what was inside. Then after letting 2 large tears drip down the paper, she flew out of the room, hugged Maria from behind as she headed for the bathroom, buried her face into her daughter's back, and cried. Then realizing that she was the one who should be apologizing, she apologized. Why is Mama apologizing? There was no answer to that question. Look, we already made up. Something like that was absolutely nothing to worry about because of the friendship Mama and I share. To me, your happiness is too painful, Ryone-chan. I understand how you feel, more or less. Before I realized I had that power, even I was a pitiful child who could only find fragments filled with misfortune, just like you are now. What is that power? This power that I don't have, but you do. Are you saying I'm unfortunate, and you're blessed because I don't have that? Just what is this thing you can't describe, except with an abstract word like power? Yeah, you do want to know that, Ange. That's why you've been reading my story so far. Of course, I'll teach you. I'll show you the secret to that power. And it's something I taught you about long ago when you were little, right? Did you forget? It's okay, I remember. Now No, she will teach you. She? Who's that? I shall teach you in Maria's place. Beatrice. The power Maria has, but you do not. Yeah, the power I have, but Ange doesn't. It's magic. Maria and Bito said it together. And they started giggling because they said it at the same time. It was an innocent reaction, one that didn't seem like Bito at all. Black tea was arranged on a table in a peaceful garden, and Bito, Maria, and Sakataro, who was sitting on Maria's lap, were having fun chatting. Oh, I see, he is called Sakataro. So this is your best friend. Hey, nice to meet you. I'm Sakataro. Sakataro's shy, so he's nervous. It's okay, Beatrice is also a great friend of mine. Do you? Are Maria's friends my friends? Yeah. Do you? Then I am Beatrice's friend too? Yeah. Do you? Maria, does something like this happen frequently for you in your everyday life? Huh? What? Is breathing a spirit of magic into inorganic matter and giving it life like this commonplace in your everyday life? Sakataro isn't inorganic matter, he's a lion cub. Do you? A stuffed animal makes for an excellent vessel. It is not uncommon for spirits to be made to reside in them, when they are spoken to by innocent children with no toxin. According to Beatrice, every time a child plays with dolls, the dolls actually gain a will and converse with them, sometimes even moving by their own will. Basically Toy Story, right? However, because of their innocence, the power imbued into such a vessel is very weak. If it gets struck with even a tiny bit of the toxin from a human's common sense, which says that there is no way a doll can talk or move, they instantly revert to being non-speaking dolls. However, this Sakataro stuffed animal of yours is different. Sakataro is a stuffed animal, but he isn't one. Ryu, I'm a lion cub. Ryu. Sakataro's a lion cub, but he's still a kid, so he can't roar sometimes. Ryu. Gazing at Maria, who is playing around with Sakataro by the table loaded with tea, Beatrice let out a sigh of admiration. How incredible. This Sakataro with a cloth and cotton vessel as a shell has completely materialized in the human world. He has his own personality, talks with the summoner freely, and even moves by his own will. And even more surprising is that Maria did not summon him using the name of a person from another world, but created him out of the sea of zero. After that, Maria boasted to Bito that Sakataro wasn't her only friend, and that she had made many more of them back at home. It seemed there were other similar stuffed animals and dolls who could talk and move of their own will like Sakataro. It was something natural for Maria. It was natural for stuffed animals to talk, move, and become her friends of their own will. When she saw that, Maria accepted this as something natural, as of which Beatrice felt a respect bordering on awe. Maria, without a doubt, that power of yours is magic. It's magic? I'm still a witch apprentice, so I can't use magic yet, right? No, it is magic. Because you cannot use it consciously, you are still an apprentice. But even so, what magical power it is. The materialization of your friend Sakataro is excellent proof of that. Materialization? Indeed. In your case, it may even be fitting to call it creation. A piece of inorganic matter that would have no soul at all in another's hands can have a soul sent into it through your magic. Furthermore, that strong magical power lies in the human world. In this era so filled with the toxin that denies magic, summoning a magical power that can materialize a single life form is not easy even for me. It isn't hard to give birth to a number of soulless beings. However, giving birth to a being with a soul is very difficult. This is what Bito asserted. I don't really understand what you're saying, Bito. You're saying Sakataro is amazing. Both you and Sakataro are incredible. You should be proud. I see, that which Kinzo desired above all else seems to dwell most strongly within you. I have a clue why Bito is praising Maria so much. Right, Sakataro? Hear you. What should be truly admired is not only that a soul has been made to reside in a stuffed animal. Even more significant is the fact that you have changed your own worldview. When it comes to giving birth to something from nothing, you stand out from the crowd. It is easy to make 100 from 1. However, giving birth to 1 from 0 is not. When you do become a full witch, beyond just becoming a match for me, you might grow into a great witch that even I must acknowledge as superior. A witch of origins, perhaps. I'm really looking forward to your future. Bito said I have talent as a witch. Isn't that great, Maria? Bito, Thank you for praising Maria. No need to thank me, Sakataro. That red muffler truly suits you. And I'm envious of the talent of your master, who was able to give birth to a friend like you. Ooh, thanks for complimenting my muffler. This is a present I got from Maria. It's my favorite. And its size is truly like a muffler that was created just for you. I see. I must also give my new friend some kind of present. Ito's giving Sakataro a present. Of course, a gift from which must be something with magical power. In that case, so that he can be your friend for all time, and so that you can have even more fun playing with him, I shall give Sakataro my magic power. With that, he should be able to materialize even more strongly. I'll be able to have a much more fun playing with Sakataro? How's that? What could it be, Maria? Is it something scary? You wonder how many parallel realities removed this is? It's hard to figure it out, right? Because we're like on Rokenjima in the meta world, but then Ange in that meta world is opening Maria's journal to read her story, and in that meta world, they're reading this story about Maria with Bito. Like, it's like, where are we, right? Don't worry, Bito won't do anything scary. Right, Beatrice? Hey, Sakataro, do you like goats? You want to be a goat? Indeed, I believe you will like it. So, to make him materialize even more strongly, a stronger image will be necessary. Well, what to do? Ito crossed her arms and thought about what she could do to please them even more. Then, right there, was the form of yet another witch. It was Bito's teacher, Virgilia. Virgilia truly was a great witch. Since Maria already thought of Bito as a great witch, this person Bito called a great witch must have been a great witch. According to Bito, she still didn't even rise up to this witch's feat when it came to magical power. My, I thought I heard some cheery voices. What a fun tea party this seems to be. Oh, teacher, perfect timing. I want you to look at this lion cub. I hear he's Maria's new friend. Oh, what a lovely lion-san. I wonder if he can greet me. Hello, nice to meet you. I'm Sakataro. Sakataro fell to Maria's lap, greeting Virgilia with half his face poking out over the edge of the table. It seemed he was very nervous, since this was a witch that even Bito called teacher. Oh, what an adorable name. As a reward for giving such a good greeting, here's a sweet for you. After waving her hands about, Virgilia held the palm of her hand upwards, as though she was lightly grabbing at the empty air. Then she held out her fist in front of Sakataro. When she opened her fist, there was one of those individually wrapped cough drops. Ew, Maria, it's candy! Awesome, awesome! Isn't that great, Sakataro? Make sure to thank her. Ew, thank you very much for the candy. Yup. Even though Virgilia was a great witch, she still treated a stuffed animal like Sakataro to an elegant greeting. Still, teacher, cough drops? Are you someone's granny or something? Can't you at least pull out some strawberry milk candy? How rude. In that case, I won't be giving you anymore. Yeah, sorry. Well then, Maria. Take out your grimoire, and of course your writing tools. Huh? Yeah, I'll take it out. What should I write? Oh, what are you starting? I will use a magic I learned from you, teacher. Magic to make a resident of another world materialize into a vessel. I think that by applying that, we may be able to further strengthen the power that makes this friend of Maria's materialize. I want to give that as a gift to Maria and her friend. I see. For a being that has already materialized, it shouldn't be that difficult. That could become a wonderful gift. Well then, I shall help too, if only a little. It would be very reassuring if you would sign for this magic as a witness, teacher. Be glad, Maria. This will be a wonderful gift. You? What's happening? It isn't scary, is it? Is it? No. But I don't think it's scary. What could it be? I can't wait. Ito borrowed the grimoire from Maria's handbag and majestically flipped through the pages. Then she found an empty page among those with magic circles drawn on them, and flattened it out. After gazing at Sakataro with a grin, she suddenly started moving her pen. It was something like a written declaration made by witches to a high-order world. It was magic whose effect could be controlled if Beatrice wrote and Virgilia signed. Maria didn't understand what Bito was writing at first, but partway through she figured out the wonderful magical power of this document, and her eyes began to sparkle. Uyu? Uyu? What is it, Maria? What's she drawing? Uyu? Sakataro was on her lap, so he didn't know what was being written on the table. But even if he had seen, Sakataro probably wouldn't have understood. Awesome, Sakataro. Wait a bit, almost done, almost done. It's amazing, Bito, amazing. When it comes to writing documents of power, this child's talent is magnificent. You might even serve well as the secretary in the spirit world. How's this? Not so bad, right? After finishing her writing with an intense amount of concentration, Bito looked over the document again from a distance. It seemed she was fairly satisfied with her work. And Maria, who was also peeking in at that, let out a cry of wonder. Awesome, Bito! Cute! Ugh. By the name of the Golden Witch, Beatrice, I now acknowledge Sakataro, Maria's child. Teacher, if you would sign as a witness. Yes, yes. By my name, I witness and acknowledge this oath. It is done. Virgilia signed, completing the written declaration. It was a document with the power to proclaim to the beings of a higher world that Sakataro had most certainly materialized in the human world. Sakataro, who had been born from Maria, was nominated by the two witches, Beatrice and Virgilia, and just now his existence had been acknowledged by the higher world. That itself was the great magic of materialization. According to Bito, it was apparently quite fortunate that Virgilia was there. After all, depending on the number and quality of witches that signed proclamations to the higher world, the power that resided in them could change drastically. Virgilia in particular had many friends in that higher plane, so her signature gave the proclamation a power with which Bito's couldn't even compare. By this proclamation, I accept you, Sakataro, as an individual with his own ego, and I welcome you as a friend in accordance with the contract of Mariage Sorcière. From now on, Sakataro is our common friend. And for that, I shall bestow upon you a fitting form as a gift. Accept it. With the grimoire still open to the page with the proclamation, she turned it around and handed it to Maria. Maria showed it to Sakataro on her lap. When Sakataro beheld that proclamation, he felt something hot and bright begin to dwell in his body made of cloth and cotton. Even as he looked around, nervous at the sensation he'd never felt before, that power strengthened, and eventually a bright light completely swallowed him up. Then, when that light disappeared, there Maria's friend Sakataro held a new form and existed. Isn't he cute? You're cute, Sakataro. Really cute. Uyu. Does it really look good on me? It isn't embarrassing. Oh, it is a very lovely form, Sakataro-chan. I figured the muffler was his charm point. And the ears. Animal ears sure are nice, truly cute. I'm totally not a furry. Let me nibble them later. Thank you, Beatrice. Thank you very much for the wonderful present. There is no need for thanks. It is out of respect for your wonderful magic and your friend. And now that you have reached this level, it would not be odd for you to graduate from being an apprentice at any time. From now on, I shall instruct you on even more new and fun magic. From this point forward, you may call yourself Maria, an apprentice witch of origins. A witch of origins? Indeed, it is a title of a witch who seeks to become a creator. Right now, you are just an enchanter, a magician specializing in forms of magical enchantment, or enhancement, with only enough strength to breathe magical power into the small objects around her. But after 1,000 years of training, you could conceivably use the magic companion that resides inside your heart to create a galaxy. The talents of a witch of origins is very rare. Even though everyone has it when they're young, no one can continue to hold on to it. The title is also proof that you have not lost your untainted heart. A witch of origins, awesome. I'll become one. I'm Maria, an apprentice witch of origins. Maria, that's so incredible. A witch of origins, incredible, amazing, Uryu. Eventually, you will be able to call yourself a full witch, Lady Maria, Witch of Origins. It may be a good time now to give not only Sakataro but you as well an appearance fitting for your rank. Here, I shall give a proper outfit for one who, while still as an apprentice, is worthy of using the title of a witch. When Bito waved the pipe that was her cane, many gold butterflies that appeared out of nowhere grouped around Maria, giving her a wonderful dress. It certainly was fitting for the girl who would eventually take the name of the Witch of Origins, combining both cuteness and dignity. Amazing! Awesome, 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 awesome! Cute, cute! I want to show these clothes to Mama too. Can I? Yeah, oh no, she's got Ava Beatrice's staff. The full dress of a witch must not be shown indiscriminately. Its value increases if you're stingy with it. Then the Great Witch, the witch's apprentice, and the new friend Sakataro enjoyed a lively tea party. See? Look how happy I am! And look how fun this is! Please don't be afraid of being happy. Becoming happy isn't the same thing as accepting your current misfortune. It means creating a new happiness out of your current misfortune. That is the magic of origins. I didn't want to acknowledge my current world. I couldn't bear to accept such an isolated and painful world. That's why, even though I was entranced by your world, Marione-chan, I couldn't cross the final line. I'll teach you about my magic of origins. No, I taught you before, right? And you used it before. Did you forget? You were also a witch apprentice, Ange, with your name entered into Mariage Sorcière, weren't you? Yeah, that was true. Mariage Sorcière. That takes me back. I also had my name entered in there at one point, didn't I? Sakataro's so cute. It would be a shame if anything were to happen to him. The world 12 years later, October 1998. Yes, I will never forget that. It happened in April of 1987. I received a certain strange request from a friend. There was a large collection of books, the former possessions of a very rich man, that were being sold at auction, and it was thought that some of them might have been extremely valuable to the study of archaeology and folklore, as well as in an occult sense. So this friend wanted to witness their worth confidentially. That was 87, half a year after the crime of Rokkenjima. Correct. It was explained that those books had escaped the disaster at Rokkenjima. The owner of the island, Miss Ushirimiya Eva, had put them up for auction. This was apparently a high-class restaurant. A middle-aged man was sitting across from Ange in a secluded and quiet seat. Amakusa could be seen by the entrance. He was probably keeping a lookout for pursuers from the Sumidera family. The scholarly man across from Ange spoke politely but with enthusiasm. He didn't lay a finger on the food in front of him, so you could tell how excited he was as he spoke fervently. He was a professor at a certain college, and particularly well known as an authority on Western folklore. However, among his life works, that was only a convenient exterior. His true life work was the study of occultism, Western magic, alchemy, and everything else to do with the occult, as well as demonology. In short, he was the person in the best position to understand the details of Kinzo's research. First, what I learned by appraising those books was that Miss Ushimiya Eva has absolutely no education in the study of folklore, and that the original owner of the books, Ushimiya Kinzo, was certainly one of the top 5 authorities on demonology in Japan. April 1987. A major city antique shop opened a large quantity of ancient documents that were thought to have a high historical value. They were entrusted with them by Ushime Eva, who wanted them to be sold at auction. At the time, it was thought that Eva would succeed the Ushime family and had all the wealth to herself as the only survivor. However, at that point, not even half a year had passed since the accident, and the others had not been missing long enough to be presumed dead, even under extraordinary circumstances. Because of that, Eva had supposedly been in a very tight spot financially, unable even to collect on her family's life insurance. It seems she tried to sell everything of value, and even the books kept in the place where she'd escaped harm in Kuwadorian were used for this purpose. These old books, which would eventually be called the Ushimiya Library, were later gathered from antique shops by authorities in the field so they could be appraised, and those authorities were astounded. At least speaking from the perspective of occultism, the impact of that discovery on the world was comparable to the discovery of the Dead Sea Scrolls. This is because, contained within the Ushimiya Library were many extremely vital documents that had never been found, though their existence had been known of for more than a millennium. The many dreams of the occult, such as those represented by alchemy, always stirred an intense fascination in dilettantes. It is whispered that many magic books of great historical value, currently unknown to the public, might be in the secret possession of extremely wealthy lovers of the occult. Items such as Leonardo da Vinci's notebooks, which are particularly popular among dilettantes, are said to be prime examples of this. It is said that approximately 5,000 pages of these notebooks currently exist, and that over 10,000 have been lost. But some researchers believe that a large part of this lost portion may be monopolized by certain enthusiasts and members of the extremely rich. It is said that because of this, even now, dilettantes who couldn't help but seek those spares had no expense to search around for quietly hoarded away and unannounced notebooks. There's probably no doubting that Ushimiya Kinzo was himself one of those dilettantes. No one knows what Kinzo went through to obtain those, but there could be no mistake that he used his vast wealth freely, buying them off other rich people with the same hobby as him. Those books, which were so valuable that enthusiasts could never satisfy their desire to hoard them away, were discovered in large numbers at the end of the 20th century, and their release to the public had given the entire world a massive shock. Yeah, maybe it was Lucia from Octopath Traveler, she's behind this. Because of this case, the name Rokkenjima became known across the world. The world was also shocked to learn that, in all likelihood, a large number of even more valuable, undiscovered books were lost during the accident on Rokkenjima. Because of this, the names of Rokkenjima and the Ushimiya Library will remain in our memories for all time. Our memories. That hour probably meant the occult neck of the woods with the same hobby as Kinzo. Because of that incident, the name of Rokkenjima had taken on a vital meaning in the world of the occult. There certainly had been a lot of reporting about the accident on Rokkenjima itself, but not on an international level. However, this one part had spread across the world, taking the image of Rokkenjima as a small island in the Izu archipelago and painting over it as a demonic island, where riddles, suspicion, and mystery and the occult met. In other words, until Kinzo's library was leaked to the public by Eva, Rokkenjima had been merely a nameless island that no one could remember, and certainly not the island of Witch. However, when knowledge of the Ushimiya Library spread all over the planet, Rokkenjima's image immediately took on an occult twist. What happened next was the discovery of the message bottle. That's what turned that island into a witch's island. A nameless island in the Izu archipelago began to transition into an island of the occult, the island of the mysterious witch Beatrice. You might say that, lacking either the Ushimiya Library or the message bottle, the Rokkenjima witch legend would never have been established. The message bottle. Yes, a form of communication to an unspecified target by throwing an empty bottle with a letter sealed inside it to the sea. It was once famous as a way of sending an SOS from a deserted island, but because of the influence of a certain prominent foreign detective novel, it has also become known as a method of confessing the truth after one's own death, like a time-delayed will. The case of the Rokkenjima message bottle was certainly one of the latter. So, if you've read Agatha Christie's And Then There Were None, there's a lot of similarities between that novel and Umineko's Episode 1. And Ryukishi definitely took, he stated he took influence from that novel, which also ends with a message bottle that lands on the shore and confesses the events of what happened on that island. Which in this case is what we read during the credits of episode 1. This is the thing that everyone says a fisherman on a nearby island picked up. Correct. We learned that a young fisherman on a Shikinijima picked up a wine bottle with a letter in it. This young fisherman kept it just out of curiosity. Then, because Rokujima had fallen under the world's attention due to the Ushimiya library, he announced his discovery. Is there any chance it was a fabrication made by the fisherman? Of course, we weren't able to deny that possibility. The scraps of paper in the wine bottle were signed by a certain member of the Ushimiya family, a girl named Ushimiya Maria. However, after looking at the writing left on her former belongings, it was confirmed that this message was written in a different person's handwriting. Different person's handwriting. Correct. At the very least, I believe there could be no doubt that it was written by a person more skilled at writing and of a greater age than her. There's a very high likelihood that someone faked her name when they wrote it. Therefore, at that point in time, the contents of those scraps of paper were thought to have a very low credibility. However, later on it was confirmed that a similar message bottle had been recovered from the nearby ocean on the day of the accident by the police in their search for lost articles, and this caused a sensation. It seemed that due to evidence from the surrounding area and the fact the bottle had been sealed, the police had decided its likelihood of being a fabrication was low, and that it had been abandoned no earlier than a few days before the accident. And the handwriting for both matched. This caused the credibility of the scraps of paper discovered by the fisherman to rise. It seems magazines and the like have reported on the contents of that message bottle repeatedly, but would you like an explanation? No, I know about it more or less. Many scraps of paper have been stuffed into both of the wine bottles. It was an extensive notebook written by someone called themselves Ushimiya Maria, but who wasn't Maria, and which told the events starting the day before the accident and up until the day of the accident in a diary-like way. And its contents had been the beginning of the Witch's Legend serial murder incident, as well as the Golden Witch Beatrice's puzzle. This bizarre diary-style notebook described how the Ushimiya family members, nailed down on the island by the typhoon, were caught up in a ceremony for the resurrection of a witch, and killed one by one in inexplicable ways. And in the end, the Golden Witch Beatrice revived, and everything was flung into the Golden Land. It was written almost as though it was a complete account of the events on those days. Also, it depicted the current situation on the island at the time in great detail, and the former servants who used to work for the Ushimiya family gave testimony that it had been written by a human who knew the inside details of the island. So because of a combination of the occult boom from that strange fantasy novel and the Ushimiya library, and well as the fact that the truth remained shrouded in darkness, the legend of the Rokujima witch was born. Correct. More than 10 years have already passed since that case, and is still the focus of interest for occult enthusiasts across the world. No, to the contrary, you could say that it has become increasingly deified as time passes. There are still many enthusiasts who try to secretly land on Rokujima, even though it's prohibited. Could there be another message bottle that's still not been discovered? And on that day, what really happened on that island? There is still much to be discussed. As though he had finally remembered that he had been going on and on for some time, the man took a gulp of water. His potage was getting cold, but it seemed that the man's hunger had already been blown away. I'm pretty sure I heard that the fisherman's scraps of paper and the police's scraps of paper had completely different contents. Correct. Due to that, interest in the Rokujima mystery increased even further. Inside both bottles were diary-style notebooks of what was written in accounts from the day before the accident until the day of the accident. However, while both of their contents described the same 2-day period, they were completely different. It was as though one was the truth and one was a lie. Or perhaps both were lies. In any event, the beginnings and endings alone matched each other. In the beginning, the 18 people, including the relatives, are sealed up on the island by the typhoon. And in the ending, everyone dies, the Golden Witch is revived, and everything is flung into the Golden Land. It's almost like we're getting different accounts of what happened on that island played out in different ways. Think on that one. The contents of both message bottles wrote about the events of the day before the accident and the day of the accident, but the details were completely different. Both diaries outline a serial murder, following the epitaph of the witch, but the order of the sacrifices, the ways they died, and even the tale of the 2 days were different. However, in both, everyone died in the end and the witch revived, making for the same general plot. Because the only survivor, Miss Ushimi Eva, has remained silent about what actually happened on that island, the events of that entire 2-day period are shrouded in darkness. These 2 diaries presented a full 2 theories to wipe away that darkness. Those 2 days could be explained with either of those 2 diaries. However, we don't know which is correct, or even if there's anything correct contained within them. Schrodinger's cat box. If it isn't denied, even a mixture of truth and fiction can be the truth. Through the media, these scraps of paper have of course been shown to Eva as well, but in the end she never broke her silence. Who sent the message bottles? And why? Earlier in their special issue for the crime's 10th anniversary, a certain magazine took that topic up for discussion in a grand manner, didn't they? That theory seems to be one garnering the most support lately. But it is rather dull. What happened on that island on that day? Considering this question is the true charm of the witch hunt. Oh, so this is also very interesting. So, Umineko, when it first came out, was Japanese only, right? Of course, it's an extremely lengthy novel. But there were English fans that were interested in it, but they couldn't read the book. So there was a group of fan translators who started fan translating the visual novels, and they made a patch for it. That original group that started making the translations were called Witch Hunt. And Ryukishi, of course, released this novel in episodes. He's known to incorporate things like fan theories and like current events into his novels between serializations. So the fact that this guy's mentioning this group of people called the Witch Hunt, which in universe is a group of people trying to unravel the mystery of Rokkenjima, is a reference to the original English translators, the Witch Hunt, a fan group, which of course their fan translation eventually became this official Steam translation on Steam. You'll see, the reason why I'm mentioning this too is because as we go through the episodes, there's more and more things that crop up that actually play out in response to fan theories about Umineko that he actually reacts to in the Answers arc especially, so I will be referencing that from time to time. The Witch Hunt. Yes, the Rokkenjima Witch Hunt is the name of a group of enthusiasts who try to explain the truth of that crime from an occult perspective. Discussion of the mysteries that surround Rokkenjima, from the Ushimiya Library to the mysterious 2-day period to the legend of the Golden Witch, is flourishing even today among enthusiasts. For the 10-year anniversary, an international convention was held in New York. Wait, they had like a Rokkenjima convention? Here, everyone, dress up as your favorite murder victim and come to New York for this event that happened in Japan. I also participated as a representative of Japan. I was able to intermingle with zealous overseas witch hunters in many ways. Witches are a very popular category overseas. The age span of the participants stretched from elementary schoolers at the bottom, all the way to famous cultural figures at the top. Even in Japan in recent years, there was finally... Probably don't need any more explanation, but he's one of the most famous Rokkenjima witch hunters in Japan. Even though I didn't say anything more, he kept continuing on, excited all by himself. As I swirled the thin film on my potage with my spoon, I shrugged my shoulders and sighed. Looks like researching about the message bottle really was a waste of time. No, if there's one thing I found, it's that the notebook supposedly written by Maria One-chan was actually written by a different person faking her name. And that person wrote up an occult legend on their own, put it into the bottle as though it was the truth, and threw it into the sea. I have a question. Why would they go through all the trouble of writing so much in order to prepare a suspicious letter like that? With the message bottle, there'd be no guarantee that it ever passed into anyone's hands. If their luck had been bad, it could have sunk in the ocean, never to be seen by anyone. And if someone had picked it up, they might have not cared about it and thrown it away. Why would they entrust their confession of the truth to the sea with such an uncertain method? And why would they write up multiple differing tales? If there had been one message bottle, claiming that its story was the truth might be reckless but not impossible. However, because there were two, that made up both of them doubtful. If someone was plotting to make out those 2 days to be the work of a witch, then they really did go one step too far. And because there were two, it suggests an undiscovered third one, or possibly even more, might exist. In other words, the two differing contents makes both of them harder and harder to swallow. But despite that, the contents of both matched in that they told of a witch in a tale. So, is that the main plot point the writer wanted to get across to us? It seemed to me that the only possible explanation is that someone who wanted to give rise to an illusion of a witch, carried out this crime for their own enjoyment. However, the 17 people, other than Aunt Ava, lost their lives, and a vast wealth of maybe even 10 tons of gold had moved around secretly in the darkness. It doesn't feel right for confession occurring after all that to bring up this illusion of the witch. Even if we ignore the magazine's theories, it's very doubtful that the message bottle really was a diary. After all, the amount of writing was massive. It's hard to imagine someone actually caught up in the middle of a serial murder like that would be able to calmly write it down. In that case, it's probably more realistic that this diary was written slowly over a long period of time until the day prior to the accident. In that case, would it mean that everything on Rogunjima is a planned crime? With everything prepared for over a long stretch of time? The fact that Aunt Ava left this world without saying anything is infuriating. She definitely said it on her deathbed. She definitely said that her reason for not telling me the truth was because it was her best way of harassing me. Yeah, by now it's painfully obvious. Of all the things Aunt Ava did to harass me, this was probably the last and the greatest. But thinking of it this way, it's pretty doubtful that Aunt Ava is the true culprit. Of course, that's not because the handwriting on the message bottle was different from Aunt Ava's or anything like that. It's because in both tales that were discovered, Aunt Ava was included among the victims. If the writer of that diary was the culprit, maybe Aunt Ava was also one of the targets to be killed. Maybe Aunt Ava survived because something went wrong. Because I hated Aunt Ava, I came to believe that she had to be the culprit. But the existence of the message bottle makes me suspect that the mastermind is a far more profound and unknown person than her. So, because Ava died in both of the message bottles, we can assume the message bottles recorded the events of episode 1 and episode 2. Because in episode 3, Ava survives. I looked at the clock. I've heard more than enough. It's time. As he continued to speak fervently, I suggested I wanted to bring this discussion to a close. He seemed to be aware that he'd gotten excited and talked too much, so he quickly accepted this. Thank you very much for today. I believe I've heard something truly valuable. No. It was truly fun to be able to welcome a young lady as a new friend of the witch hunt. I have many precious materials I couldn't show you because of this change to a different venue from the usual. I would be glad to show you them at the next chance we get. Thank you, Professor. Could I ask one more thing? Yes, what is it? Professor, why are you interested in witches? No, in occultism and demonology. Well, that is something somewhat embarrassing. A daydream I had in my childhood that if I could use a mysterious power, I could take on even the biggest of bullies, went on to become my life's work. After all, the primitive desire of admiring unknown power isn't universal today as it was in the past. Professor, if you could do it, would you want to become a witch? Do you still dream of being able to use magic at will? But of course! Even though at this age I understand logically that such a thing couldn't exist, I cannot forget my childlike dreams, such as flying in the sky and turning scrap iron into gold. If you would, please keep this a secret from my students. If I told you that I was a real witch, would you believe it? My pet theory from my few experiences with women is that they are all witches. Ange snorted at the old professor, who must have been an earnest scholar with barely any experience with women. Yeah. One final question. Professor, have you seen the original message bottle itself? I have indeed. In that case, do you know that handwriting well? Of course. I'm not a specialist in the area, but at least when it comes to the handwriting of the message bottle, I am proud to be the most knowledgeable in Japan. At that point, Ange set a book down on the desk with a thud. And this is? I've never seen it before. He prided himself on his thorough knowledge of all literature related to Rogunjima, and he looked bewildered at this binding that he hadn't seen before. Ignoring him, Ange silently flipped through the pages, opened to one of them, and showed him. On that page was a handwritten paragraph beginning with, "To my beloved witch apprentice." And at the end, there was a signature in katakana that said, Beatrice. This is... In the instant he glanced at it, his face went pale. She knew the answer before asking, but Ange asked it aloud anyway. Does the handwriting in this paragraph on this page match the handwriting in the message bottle? Well, I must take this home and investigate more. Pardon me for asking, but what in the world is this book? Where did you get it? The man stretched out his hand, but Ange pulled it back, as though telling him not to touch it with his filthy hands. Thank you. Just that reaction is all I need. Thank you very much for today. Here's the reward I promised. As she stood up, clutching Maria's diary, Ange carelessly tossed a wad of 10,000 yen notes wrapped with a strip of paper onto the table. And Ange turned her back to him and made to leave. The man raised his voice as though clinging to her, but Ange didn't stop walking. I beg you, what in the world is that book? I don't need a reward, show me that book! Both you and I are in the witch hunt, but it looks like we aren't pursuing it at the same level. Oh no, both you and I are in the witch hunt, but it looks like we aren't pursuing it at the same level. You're entertaining yourself with the outside of the cat box, but what I want to know about is the inside of the cat box. And this book is the key to opening it. It's too good for you. Well then, goodbye, gentlemen. Have a nice day. Please, wait, Sumadera-san! His voice didn't reach her. She had already joined up with Amakusa and gone into the car. Did you find anything? Only at the very end. I was right. The one who wrote the message bottles was Beatrice herself. Cool. So you've concluded that witches actually exist? Who knows? Mind if I sleep? I'll bet that talkative professor gets lost in his own little world in lectures and makes a lot of kids fall asleep. Please, go ahead and take a rest. Still, that went really well. That guy believed I was a Sumadera until the very end. The Sumadera family had set up a web beforehand around any people Ange might try to contact. They had offered a reward to anyone who could take Ushimiya Ange into custody if she appeared. Ange had foreseen that and had it snatched away. She had called herself Sumadera, and after cleverly tricking the man by saying her own subordinates would set up an ambush, so he didn't need to worry about it, she had taken him outside. So when the Sumadera family pursuers reached the professor's house, there was no longer anyone there. According to the family, a young man and woman calling themselves Sumadera visited this morning, took the professor out with them, and still have not returned. There's a chance we were outmaneuvered. What a bad child, Ange-chan. I wonder if that craftiness is from Nansan's blood. To think she'd casually take on the name Sumadera, after saying she'd hate to go by it so often. Ho ho ho. The professor should be returning soon. When he does, we must serve him some tea. Yes, understood. I wonder if she thinks she's leading me around by the nose. What a naughty child. Ho ho ho. With a demonic look on her face, Kasumi violently stamped her heel. I'll teach you. About my magic of origins. No, I taught you before, right? And you used it before. Did you forget? You were also a witch apprentice, Ange, with your name entered into Mariage Sorcière, weren't you? This game has made you terrified of tea. I don't know why Kasumi always talks about serving people tea when she wants to kill them. That's her, like, euphemism, I guess, for it. I was also included among the witches, wasn't I? I closed Maria's diary and flopped down on a very high-class looking bed. I slept deeply for a long time in the car, so it took longer than usual for drowsiness to set in, and I read the diary as I waited. This was a super expensive hotel in the city. Since it was often used by the rich and famous, they were very big on confidentiality. They made it very convenient for Ange to escape her pursuers. The idea that renegades should spend their nights hiding in cheap hotels is a commoner's way of thinking. To Ange, who possessed all the wealth of the Ushimiya family, renegade life was comfortable indeed. Of course, even though he was a guard, Amakusa was a man, and therefore in a separate room. Ange used the bedroom of the suite, and Amakusa lay on the sofa in the living room. According to Amakusa, the sofas here were more pleasant than his own beds had been recently. Poor guy. When I looked at the clock, I saw that it was almost 2 o'clock in the middle of the night. I'm still not getting sleepy. I sighed deeply. At that time, even though there was no wind, I had the feeling that Maria One-chan's diary fluttered. Then One-chan appeared. Her form was no longer the normal one I'd known. She was wearing the dress that Beatrice had given her after acknowledging her as a witch. If you don't get some sleep, it'll be tough tomorrow, right? If I were a witch too, I'd be able to use magic, wouldn't I? Yeah, you can use it. I taught you, didn't I? taught you how to use it. And you were able to use it in the past, weren't you? I remember. I've started wanting to use it. Are you starting to feel lonely? Not really. It's not like having a different pillow every night is that tough. The first step to magic can be loneliness or boredom. Even small reasons like that. Even if it's just trying to kill time until you can fall asleep. Yeah, I'm glad you remembered about magic one more time. It's been quite a long time since I last used magic. At one point, with Mirio-ne-chan's introduction, I touched a corner of it and opened the door a tiny bit. So, I should still remember that sensation. Right now, your magical powers decline significantly, Ange. If you don't devote yourself to the basics, it'll be hard, okay? Sure. Checking all directions, securing a quiet space. What about Amakusa-san? He's sleeping. After opening the door to the living room a crack, I could see the blanket caterpillar on the sofa roll over in its sleep. With your magical strength as weak as it is now, the anti-magic power is affecting you too much. Not just the sight of people, but voices, sounds, and even the presence of people will get in the way of your magic. Sever those completely, like how ancient magicians shut themselves up in ateliers to preserve their isolation. I remember. The very existence of humans blocks magic. Therefore, the very act of showing magic to people is a sign of a high-level witch. Obtain a quiet space for yourself alone. That should be enough to prepare a space to use magic. Next is the vessel. Right now, it's important for your bike to at least have training wheels. No, a chain. This is, of course, impossible. Yeah, atelier is a real word. I believe it comes from the French word for workshop. But usually when people say atelier, you almost think of like a workshop for like something supernatural, like witches or alchemists or something. Ange rubbed her own head. She wore hair accessories there with pink gems attached. They felt a little childish for Ange, but she never took them off, not even for a single day. Yeah, it really will be impossible for you now, Ange. If you've practiced every single day since then, you might have gained the ability to summon with that by now. If I were to start training now, how long would it take? It's said that a year of magical training for a child is worth 10 years for an old person. You need a lot of determination. You mean like Ushimiya Kinzo? So just like the piano and the violin, getting a special education from a young age is huge when it comes to magic. As you are now, your power has weakened since the time you were first able to use magic, Ange. Don't overdo it and devote yourself to the basics. After stubbornly rubbing those things on my head one more time, I gave up. Then I started fishing through the knapsack, looking for anything that might make a good vessel. Shouldn't this be a perfect vessel? It's been a long time, yes! With this, I think even you should be able to perform a summons as you are now. And they have no master now. It should be possible for you to become their new master, Ange. Among the things that look like good vessels, I took the one that I thought might possess the strongest magical power, and set it on the side table near the bed with a clatter. It was a shady-looking, stake-shaped weapon with an occult design inscribed on it. It was one of those 7 stakes of purgatory, which the witch used to offer sacrifices. When the police had been searching for the family's possessions, they collected a large amount of junk. After investigation had finished, these had been politely returned to the Ushimiya family. Finding something that I'd seen in the pictures of Maria's diary, I took it home with me. Originally, there were 7 stakes of purgatory. How pitiful, now she's the only one left. One-chan smiled, looking lonely. Yeah, I like how the magic that works in Umineko is very... There's so many rules that work with it, but they all seem to work together, and also they also seem to all describe how, for example, that we humans don't see it, for example, and other stuff like that. Or that you can't use it in the presence of other people. Hey, Yuji Nightstar! Welcome to the stream. Thank you so much for following me. Thanks for being a froggy friend. Welcome. I pulled another book out of the knapsack. This was also old-fashioned, and you could tell that it was an occult book just by looking. But its contents were plain. It was one of Mirio-ne-chan's elaborate notebooks. This wasn't a diary. This was a grimoire, which she had written as a witch. The 7 stakes of Purgatory are Beatrice's furniture, created by her and employed only for her sake. Since Beatrice is also a witch of Mariage Sorcière, they could be employed by Maria, a witch of the same alliance. For that reason, the method of summoning the 7 stakes of Purgatory and how to handle them was written about in great detail in Maria Onechan's grimoire. And, as another person with their name registered in that alliance, I was also permitted to employ them. Which of the 7 sisters is this stake? Their characteristics are written about well in my grimoire. The sisters of the 7 stakes really hate it when you get their names wrong. Remember their names well before summoning them. A packed page told of the 7 stakes of Purgatory. It described the 7 sisters in great detail. Yes, I think I memorized almost this entire page once in the past. The more I read it, the more I started to remember. By the pictures and characteristics written on the grimoire, I should tell that the stake in my hand was Mammon's stake. In the past, I hadn't had any stakes, so I'd summoned them without any vessel. So this was the first time I'd clearly seen any of the 7 stakes, let alone Mammon. Mammon, the 5th sister, controls the deadly sin of greed. An incredible kid. Greed also controls aspirations and the desire to improve oneself and the strength to live. It definitely doesn't mean only bad things. She's rude, but she's a girl who tries really hard. I see. You could say that without desire, there's no reason to live. For a while, I heightened my concentration and digested the information that was written about Mammon. The more the summoner knows about the target that's being summoned, the better. Knowledge is connected to magical power. I began to fill my head with knowledge about Mammon, raising a necessary amount of magical power for a summoning. Grimoires could be a bit interesting. This might be a much better read than some lame novel. It really takes me back. For a grimoire, it is demanded not only that you understand the letters, but that you fill up the world of the spaces between the lines, giving birth to a world from the pictures and creating things in various ways. The power to give birth to something. For someone who has that, such as you, a grimoire should be more interesting than any book. I've always known that you'd be able to understand that. That should be enough knowledge of Mammon for now. Yes, I remembered it more or less. I'll give it a try. Take care. In case the worst happens, here's my talisman. The Treaty of the Alliance won't protect you right now. That Mammon is a bit of a quick trigger, and she may still bear a grudge. Be careful. Yes, I'll wear it. The 7 stakes of Purgatory, as furniture used to make sacrifices for a ceremony, were treated as beings inferior even to weapons. But that was only when compared to other demons. To humans, furniture is something to be feared. I fished through the knapsack again, took out a bracelet charm with a scorpion medal I'd gotten from Maria Onechan long ago, and put it on my arm. In the past, I hadn't needed something like this, but I need assurance. Or insurance. It's okay. That has already been fitted with the required amount of magical defense. As long as you wear that, you'll definitely be fine. Maria Onechan's magic power, which had been specially put into this charm, had been enough to earn even Beatrice's admiration. While it may have looked like something cheap to a human who couldn't understand magic, its magical worth was incalculable. Come, arise. Forgive the sin. One of the 7 stakes of Purgatory, Mammon of Greed. I focused my mind. I made the magic repelling toxin that filled my body 0. Imagine an untainted, vast space. Doubts and common sense all resist magic. Make the resistance 0 and erase the burden on the magical power. Inside my head was the image of a vast space. It was a nighttime world where I floated in the air, and the neon stars over the ground sparkled. A world where the stars that should have covered the sky were wiped away by the light from below that covered the ground. In a world of a vast night sky with no obstructions, I imagined the wind blowing through at will. At that time, in a room where there shouldn't have been any wind, the free nighttime wind kicked up a cyclone. A long-forgotten sensation raced through my entire body. It was the unique feeling of exaltation that comes from using magic. Mammon's stake, which I held out in my hand, gradually began to make me feel a pale light. A twisting cyclone with the stake at the center. The hefty stake floated a bit into the air. Wonderful. Looks like the gap in your training hasn't stolen your talent. Come, arise. Forgive the sin. One of the 7 stakes of purgatory, Mammon of greed. Show yourself to me. After I raised my hands bit by bit, lifting them higher than my head, as though it was being attracted upwards, Mammon's stake once again floated up high into the air, and gradually began to shake. That shaking began to grow faster, and it burst. With a speed faster than the eye could follow, it flew around, violently rebounding off the walls of the room. The terrible sound of it dancing around threatened to make me flinch. However, I must not lose my mental concentration. Yeah, the music is so good. Then the stake, which had been flying around at an incredible speed, finally stopped and faced me. It was in the air just a few centimeters away from my forehead, and held back by the defensive barrier created by the scorpion charm. If it had tried to break the defensive barrier, eating into it with incredible power, but Mario Nechan's barrier wouldn't be broken so easily. It's no use. I can't break it. The stake muttered hatefully. It was probably safe to say that the scorpion charm saved me. Without that, my attempt at killing time until I got sleepy would have killed my time for all eternity. When Mammoth's stake realized it was unable to gouge me, it gave up and grew docile, changing its form from that of a stake into a human. In that same old outfit that I'd never been able to walk around in, outside in, although you could say it suited her in a demonic sort of way. Is that Ange-sama? But that magical power is pretty shabby. Are you really Ange-sama? It's been a long time, Mammon. Have you been well? And here I was convinced that furniture that's already fulfilled its function just gets left to rust away in a closet. So, what kind of sideshow is this? You aren't gonna say you're my owner, are you? Yes, Ange is your master. Lady Maria, how unsightly of me. Was that barrier just now yours? Yes. I thought that as she is now, Ange might have gotten finished off by you. I lent her a talisman. If Lady Maria says Ange-sama is my master, I cannot refuse. Ange-sama, please, your orders. If it's me you need, are you going to perform a new ceremony? With new sacrifices? Of course, that's only if you're willing to handle me yourself and get your own hands dirty. That role isn't something I'm asking for anyone. All you have to do is talk with me like you used to. Huh. Yes, if that's what you desire. Furniture is furniture because it is used. It is an honor just to be summoned. Ange-sama. Mammon had a slightly complicated smile on her face. She accepted her new master because Maria had told her to. But it looked like she hadn't gotten over her discontent at working for Ange with her frail magical power. Perhaps she had some other reason for hating Ange, but for now it seemed she couldn't disobey, even if she wasn't happy about it. So, what should I do? I don't know. Just do something lively, like old times. Well now, this liveliness you're talking about is probably from when we sisters were all together. It may be difficult by myself. Did you forget? That's right, the 7 sisters were really lively when they got together. But with Ange's magical power now, I think summoning just Mammon is the best we can hope for. The stakes for the other 6 have been lost. My apologies, Lady Maria, but maybe it would be possible to summon the 7 sisters via my own stake. If I am to be used, I'd hope Ange-sama has at least that much power, right? Mammon grinned. Apparently she wanted me to summon the other sisters without a vessel. I see. Since she's unable to satisfy herself with being summoned alone, she's asking for the other sisters to be summoned as well. I get it. Greed. Yes, she was like this back then, wasn't she? To furniture, the times during which they are used are bliss. No matter how badly they are exploited, being used is furniture's joy. On the contrary, regardless of how nice you are to them, not being given a job is more painful than anything in their eyes. Mammon spoke in a challenging way, but she wanted me to summon the other sisters somehow, and rescue them from the world of nothingness. If that's the case, all she's got to do is say so. These demon people can never just say what they mean. Ange, don't overdo it. You'll get plenty of rehabilitation just from summoning Mammon. Oh, I'll need to rehabilitate after just one. Well, I'm just killing time anyway. Okay, Mammon. I've gone this far. I'll call as many as I can. Really? Not bad, Ange-sama. Okay, quickly. Apparently, even though she'd asked, Mammon hadn't really expected Ange to do this. She hopped around, badgering Ange to summon the other sisters. Summoning Mammon alone consumed a considerable amount of physical and magical power. It'd probably be pretty tough to do 6 more. I'm awed by the magical power of those who can summon sisters like this at will with a snap of their fingers. And who therefore reach that level where they could be called witches. Mammon, don't make Ange overdo it. She still isn't at her best. What? Ange-sama said she'd summon everyone. Actually, I only said I'd call as many as I could. I guess that's greed for you. Don't overdo it, Ange. You should rest for today. You're tired enough. It's okay. I'm just killing time anyway. Let me get tired enough that I could fall over to sleep. This time, there's no vessel. I'll have to strengthen the image from my knowledge of the grimoire, and materialize them with just that. I held my hands out into the air, replaying in my head the sensation from when I'd summoned Mammon. I'd acquainted with all the 7 sisters, right? I gotta remember that time long ago, when I talked with them. Once again, the power of magic began to fill me up. It let off a faint and yet distinct pale light from both my hands. Ange-sama. Hold on, good luck! Hey, Lady Maria. Ange-sama's definitely gonna summon everyone, right? The 7 sisters will get to be reunited again, right? Right? Yeah, definitely. But there's no guarantee that'll happen tonight. Yeah, it's just like that meme. Ange and Maria, oh my god, let's summon a demon! And then Bowler and George, who keeps summoning all the demons? Ange-sama can do it. Please, Ange-sama. Start with the youngest sister, Asmodius, the 7th sister. Got it. I'll call them in order, starting from the youngest. A strand of hot sweat dripped down my forehead. This really is going to be one hell of a burden to carry. A pale light in the space began to slowly form into the outline of a girl. Come, arise. One of the 7 stakes of purgatory, Asmodius of lust. There was no vessel. However, as I held a strong conviction that she definitely did exist there as a core, her form began to crystallize. Her outline became distinct, and the form of the youngest of the 7 sisters, Asmodius, was finally created. Asmodius of lust, right here. Where is this? Am I alive? Asmo, I'm so glad. Mama Ne-chan, or Ne-san, where in the world is this? Who summoned me? Ange-sama did. Ange-sama said she'd revive all of us. No, I didn't. Ange-sama, thank you. Do bells next, please. Beelzebub, the 6th sister. Beelzebub of gluttony. Come arise. At this rate, I wonder how many I'll be able to summon. If I can't focus, this is probably it. The pale lights made an outline and formed into Beelzebub. Beelzebub of gluttony, right here. Bells! Ange-sama, you're amazing, incredible! Mammon and Asmodius jumped onto Beelzebub, celebrating their reunion. I'd summoned 3 people at once. My head was throbbing. Gotta summon the next one without stopping for a break. Come, arise. One of the 7 sisters, Belphegor of Sloth. Belphegor of Sloth, right here. To think that I would be needed again. Belphegor. I'm hungry. I mean, I'm so glad to see you again. To think that the 7 sisters would be able to meet again. Ange-sama, thank you so much. Keep it up and do Satan Ne-san next. And Leviane and Lucine. Yeah, I get it. So please try not to be so loud. Doing 4 people at the same time is pretty tough. Ange, don't overdo it any more than this. You did a good job summoning even 4 of them after such a long time. Stop it, Mammon. Right now, Ange-sama is being pressured with the burden of summoning us. Ange-sama, I beg that you do not strain yourself too much. No way! Ange-sama promised. She said we'd all play together again. No, Right? Ange-sama? You said everyone would meet again. You promised we could meet again right away. That's right, I promised. I didn't promise anything about when, but I certainly did promise. So keep that promise. If you don't, I'll never forgive you for forgetting it until today, Ange-sama. Come, arise. One of the 7 stakes of purgatory, Satan of Wrath. My mind's getting hazy, but I'll call. Even though I've forgotten about those days. Even though I never thought of that time as anything but sad and lonely. Because the short time I spent with them was fun, without a doubt. Satan of Wrath, right here. What the hell are you people doing? Don't you realize how much is burning Ange-sama just to let us have an idle chat? Satan, who had apparently figured out the situation immediately after being summoned, cried out in a loud voice telling her sisters off. That loud voice made my consciousness hazy again. We are furniture who've been granted rest by Beatrice, and whose duty has been finished. Not only are you not honored at being given another chance to be of some use, but you're putting a burden on a new master, you disgraced all furniture. Erase yourselves right away. Yes, it's like Satan says. I'll erase myself. You all erase yourselves too. In this moment, that's the best way for us to be of use to Ange-sama. No way! Not until everyone's summoned. Same here. I'm hungry. I mean, I'd hate to leave again so soon after being reunited with you all. Don't be so selfish. Come on, erase yourself quickly. Come on, Asmo. Disappear right now. Wah, Satan is bullying me. It's not fair if you always bully the youngest one. Yes, they really are lively. Doesn't bore me. That's enough. You've surpassed your limits for now, Ange. You're right. With 5 of them summoned and messing around as they pleased, the load was far too heavy for me, with the meager magical power I had at the moment. This is it. As my consciousness went hazy, I fell onto the bed. The beds always felt this soft. It seemed that the sisters were still squabbling together as much as they liked. For a way to kill time until drowsiness comes to get me. This is enough. Feeling something warm and nostalgic in the sisters' liveliness, I sank into a world of deep sleep. Right, I like how these characters have goofy dynamics, even though we think of them, or we were first introduced to them as just a bunch of killer demons. Even just seeing Beatrice being nice to people and having tea with people is so weird. At the entrance to my dream world, I felt Maria One-chan and Sakataro waiting to receive me. You worked hard, and good job. Do you? Welcome back, Ange. Welcome back, huh? Then I should respond like this. I'm home. That's right. Just once in the past, I underwent training in order to step into the world of witches. I accepted that the only power that could save me from those sad, painful days at St. Lucia Academy was the thing called magic, and I received Maria's introduction to the basics. Oh, see, it does have, I forgot, it does have Lucia's name in the name of the academy. Imagine a vast space. The scene from when I looked down at the mountain's base from a rest stop at the peak. Like this? I projected that scene from a memory into my mental world. Normal girls get over their fascination with magical girls when they leave elementary school. So seriously training to use magic at this age was embarrassing, even for me. But even that embarrassed feeling felt pleasant to me now. Right then, I was learning mental concentration from Maria One-chan in order to use magic. But it wasn't going very well. It was about as hopeless as teaching a person to wiggle their ears by showing them. It seems you need to imagine a vast space to gain the mental concentration for using magic. So I remember the time from my younger days when my family had gone on a small vacation. When I had looked down towards the base from a viewing platform at a rest stop on a peak. And I tried painting the scene in my mental world. No, still far too small. Imagine a much, much wider space and create your own mental world. Your image is still way too foggy. There's no temperature in the air, there's no wind, no smells either. The world is still very faint. You can leave those for later, so for now imagine an even wider space. Why do you have to imagine a vast space? From the time of their birth, humans have inside of them a toxin that blocks magic. If that toxin isn't purified, you can't use magic well. One effective method of achieving this is to imagine a vast space. Just now, I thought of the world as seen from the window of an airplane, but that didn't work. I can't even think of a world more vast than that. In that case, Maria just has to teach Ange about the vast world Maria has. Won't that make it easy for Ange to imagine as well? That's right. And I'm interested in the kind of world One-chan imagines when she uses magic. I'll use it for reference. That won't work. The mental world must be vast and isolated. A world with no obstructions other than yourself. So if you teach someone about that world, it won't be isolated anymore. That's why you mustn't reveal your mental world to anyone. But she's showing it to you. And if you drop a good mental world, you too must keep it as a secret only for yourself. This almost sounds like that scene from Inception when they're talking about like trapping yourself in your own mind and creating your own world and putting it down to every little detail so that something seems off, you'll notice, or something like that. So stingy, Maria. Thanks, Sakutaro. I guess there are no shortcuts in training. I'll make an effort. It's okay, I've been given plenty of hints. Do your best, Ange. Until recently, I thought there was no way something like magic could save me. After all, magic doesn't exist in this world. That kind of thing's supposedly nothing more than an illusion. A delusion. A daydream. However, Maria One-chan showed me that she could fill her own world with happiness, using a power that's impossible for me. I used to look down on that happiness as something empty. Because I didn't believe in magic, I also denied everything else, refusing to believe in the happiness that magic gave birth to. But slowly, bit by bit, Maria One-chan's world grew happier. In the past, I disparaged it, thinking it looked too pitiful to look at. But that might have been nothing more than jealousy. I was forced to admit that, and now this was my first step in my search for happiness. A vast space, a dry wind that could blow without being blocked by anything. Let me feel that wind blowing through my own hair. I see. Even the ground might get in my way as I am now. Then I don't need a ground. Brush the ground away. Downwards. Downwards. In other words, it was as though I had floated up, leaving the ground far behind. After pushing the ground further and further downwards, the ground grew foggy and faint, and for the first time it began to feel like the sky. Then I understood its vastness. In that instant, I felt the vivid wind go right through, even my body, in other words, blowing through me without any resistance. Yes, maintain that sensation. Yeah, I get it. I get that I've been released from all hindrances. You did it, Ange. You did it! You've taken your first step into the world of witches. This is the world of witches. Yeah, so let's try practicing the magic that you've always wished for, Ange. Magic that'll summon friends. A magic that'll create allies who'll save you from your loneliness and thereby bring you happiness. Will Ange also be able to summon friends like me? Do you? As she is now, it's still far too early for Ange to summon friends like Sakutaro from the Sea of Zero. To begin, let's start by practicing with friends that are easy to summon. What will we start with? Because you're a witch of Mariage Sorcière, you are also permitted to use those employed by other witches in the Alliance. For example, Sakutaro is my friend, but since you're in the same alliance, he's your friend too, and you can summon him. You want to try summoning Sakutaro one of these days? When you're so lonely it gets tough, I'm sure Sakutaro would cheer you up. Oh yeah, we'll summon our friend. We'll summon Kirby. Thank you, Lark. I see. You could call Sakutaro as being employed by One-chan. So as a witch in the same alliance as her, it's possible for me to summon Sakutaro too. I met Sakutaro's gaze. How pleasant it would be to have him be there, by my pillow. so he could talk to me a bit on lonely nights. If I call out, will you appear? And talk to me? Uryu, I can't wait to be summoned by you, Ange. Uryu. Looking happy, Sakataro pressed his head against me like a cat. Suddenly getting a cute younger brother felt a bit confusing, a bit embarrassing, and a bit nice. Unable to understand why I couldn't honestly accept this feeling, I felt tears well up in my eyes. Right. I'll give it all I've got to One-chan. Then let's practice. Let's try summoning the furniture of Beatrice, a witch from the same alliance. Beatrice's furniture. Hearing Beatrice's name gave me a slightly strange feeling. When it came to the crime on Rokenjima, the public kept going on and on, in a frenzy about how it was a sacrifice ceremony performed by a witch. And that witch was Beatrice. So if the witch did commit that crime, that would make her the culprit who stole my family from me. However, Maria One-chan said that Beatrice was a good witch. If I held negative emotions towards Beatrice, she'd get mad, leading to a nasty fight and refuse to talk for a while. At this moment, One-chan was my only close friend. So to avoid worsening her mood, I decided to think of Beatrice as nothing more than One-chan's magic teacher. Also, I believed that the crime was a conspiracy cooked up by Aunt Ava. I would definitely expose the truth about that someday. And obstructions are entering your body again. Sorry, I lost my concentration. One more time. I'd expect no less from you, One-chan. You instantly noticed I was being overcome with idle thoughts. After shaking my head just once, I reimagined the wind blowing through a vast space. The Seven Sisters of Purgatory? That's a pretty creepy name. But they're very energetic and fun kids. They might become your new friends, Ange. First, I'll show you how to summon them. Watch. Maria One-chan lifted both hands up to the level of her head and quietly unified her mind. The state I wasn't able to reach except by meditating for a long period of time, she reached in the span of a few quick breaths. Then a pale light began to gather in her palms, and one by one the girls began to show themselves. 1, 2, 3 people, 4, 5, 6, 7 people. The way they were summoned one after another in a line was a masterpiece. Incredible. Just like the illustrations in One-chan's grimoire, the Seven Sisters of Purgatory. The younger sisters were behind the eldest, Lucifer, who saluted One-chan. The Seven Sisters of Purgatory right here. Lady Maria, it has been quite some time. Oh yeah, I didn't point this out earlier, but like, every time they spell Maria in all caps, they're talking about the witch version of Maria, not the regular human Maria. I believe in the Japanese version, they differentiate it by using like katakana in hiragana or something like that. Yes, long time no see. Is everyone well? We furniture what we are because we are used. To us, being summoned after so long is truly an honor. Yeah, Sakataro! It's been so long. You look as cute as ever. Me first. Yeah, today he's so fluffy, squishy, and cute. Ah! Let me hug him too. Let me hug him too. Uryu, can't breathe. I won't run away, so let go of me, everyone. I think in the anime, this scene is really cute. They like dogpile him and hug him. Hey, you all. Are you trying to break Lady Maria's furniture? Anyway, get away from him. Hugging is prohibited. Even though you're saying that, it looks like you want to hug him the most, Satan. Ah! It's not like I have any interest in something so fluffy, squishy, and cuddly. Hey! Be silent in the presence of Lady Maria and Ange-sama, you foolish sisters. They were so energetic. I was shocked by their sudden burst of activity right after they appeared. And on top of that, I was surprised that the innocent Sakataro was on such good terms with the Seven Sisters. Hey Yasu, welcome to the stream. Good to see you. Thanks for stopping by. That's unexpected. To think that Sakataro would be so loved by such shady people. They're fellow members of the same alliance. There's nothing to be scared of, right? But on the off chance their mood worsens, it looks like they could finish Sakataro off in an instant. It's alright. The witches of the alliance and their furniture are all friends. So Sakataro can play without worrying. Of course, that goes for you and me too, Ange. It was one of the pacts of Mariage Sorcière. Mutual non-aggression and non-interference. Member witches must respect each other's magic and creations. Even the sisters, who are normally shady and belligerent, treated fellow Alliance members as friends. So to the 7 sisters, Sakataro was a mutual friend. He was loved by all of them, and they were even trying to steal him away from each other. This scene as they squeezed him and loved him was a bit charming. I see. They're fellow members of Mariage Sorcière, after all. At a glance, you'd think Sakataro's casual atmosphere and the 7 sisters' shady one would be like water and oil. It looked like they definitely wouldn't be compatible, and yet they were interacting in a friendly way, like it was completely natural. If this wonderful alliance could join all the people of the world together, I wonder if everyone in the world would be able to become friends right away. All you 7 sisters, listen. Right now Ange is in the middle of magic training, so I want everyone to lend their power. Certainly, Lady Maria. But what specifically? The magical power materializing you will move from me to Ange. In that state, I want you to be by her side all the time. You just have to talk with her. My apologies, but I wonder if Ange-sama's magical power would be able to easily summon all 7 of us around the clock. The oldest sister, Lucifer, gazed at my complexion as she advised this, speaking reservedly. In other words, she was saying the burden might be heavy for me at this point in time. Yes, if only everyone would join in an alliance with the 7 stakes of Purgatory. Wouldn't that be grand? Can all enjoy Purgatory together. That's the kind of training it is. Ange has more talent and magic than everyone imagines. It'll be pretty tough, but I think it's worth it for Ange to take this challenge as she is now. Ange, starting now, I'll move the magical power materializing them over to you. In other words, it'll become as though you had summoned them. So what Maria Onenchan was trying to say was something like this. To keep the 7 sisters materialized, you are continuously burdened with a significant amount of magical power. Maybe you could say it was like training while wearing a weighted wristband. You. Doing all of the 7 sisters would be pretty tough. Isn't that asking a lot of Ange all of a sudden? Thank you, Sakataro, but this is training to become a witch. I want to see how far I can go. The 7 of them certainly do seem boisterous, but even if this is for training, having them with me will surely distract me from my loneliness, at least a little. I understood it would be an ordeal, but I wanted to give it a shot. Don't overdo it if it gets tough, okay? And everyone, if it looks tough for Ange, take it easy. Does this mean there'll be a drop the weights training scene? Very astute observation, I wonder. Certainly. Get it, everyone? Yes, One-sama. Well then, Ange-sama. For now, we, the 7 sisters of Purgatory, will become your furniture. Lady Maria, if you would. Yeah. So, Ange, can we start? Sure. I'm a little nervous. You. This might be tough all of a sudden. If you feel like you're getting a headache, lower your magic power immediately. Okay, I'll move the source of magic power over to Ange. In an instant, the inside of my head felt very heavy. Yeah, it's tough. Until then, the inside of my head had only been used for myself. It was almost like it was now being used for 7 other people. If they just stood there and blinked once or let out a single sigh, that would put strong pressure on my head. Lady Maria, my apologies, but perhaps the burden from all 7 sisters at once might be too great after all. I'm okay. No. It won't work after all. You're using all your energy to materialize them. There's no point if the burden is such that you can't balance it with your everyday life. And anyway, this is a bit unrefined for a witch. That's why I said doing so many so suddenly was impossible. Everyone, erase yourselves for a bit. Right. It seems it'd be better to lower the number of people. Asmo, erase yourself. Me again? I'm opposed to youngest sister bullying. Disappear starting from the top every once in a while. That would mean I'd have to disappear second, right? No. Don't make a ruckus, Asmo and Levianin. That kind of disturbance will become a burden to Ange-sama. The noise you're making is also a burden, stupid Satan. Yeah. seven sisters started arguing over who should erase themselves first. The energy from that fight all became a burden, forcing Ange to bear an even greater headache. In the end, they decided the order with rock, paper, scissors, and 1, 2, 3 of them disappeared. But even at that level, Ange was still far from comfortable. In the end, once 6 of them had erased themselves, I was finally able to calm my breathing. With my magical power, forget the 7 sisters, just one person is my limit. Sheesh, this way it's not the 7 sisters, but just me, right? You're a bit unreliable, Ange-sama. Mammon, who had won all the rock, paper, scissors matches and was permitted to remain until the end, grumbled. Mammon, you shouldn't say things like that. Ange is still just starting her training. Are you alright, Ange? Is your headache okay? Sakataro stretched up on his tiptoes, trying to pat Ange's head. Watching this, Maria scratched her head, acknowledging that this sudden training had been too difficult. Maybe this was a little too much. I'd be perfectly fine with this much, though. The more friends you have, the more fun it is. Now I'm even more aware of how incredible you are, One-chan. Apparently when one reaches Maria One-chan's class, one can summon enough people to perform in an orchestra. For a witch apprentice, that's awe-inspiring. Are you okay, Ange-sama? I'm sorry. It looks like summoning you is the most I can do. Well, I guess I'm okay with that. After all, of all the 7 sisters, I get Ange-sama all to myself. What do you think, Ange-sama? If it's just me, will it be a burden for you? No, I think I'll be able to manage you alone somehow. Great! Then please train a lot and cultivate your magic power a bunch. Then someday, for sure, please bring the 7 sisters together and let us serve you. Promise? After confirming that for the time being her own materialization wasn't causing any issues, Mammon immediately became cheery again and tried to make me promise to work harder. I see, that definitely fits with her being greed. But maybe you could also call it having a positive attitude. Yes, I promise. I have to be able to do at least that much someday. Thank you, Ange-sama. I, Mammon of Greed, will surely serve you until that day. My headache finally abated, and I relaxed both hands, which had been clutching at my head. Then Mammon stuck out her hand, helping me stand back up. Ew. Maria, Ange, it's about that time. If we don't return to the room, you'll be scolded. Huh? Oh. I hadn't expected Sakataro to talk about the time. I was brought back into reality. As though the light had disappeared, the vast world sunk into the darkness. And I was in a tiny, tiny bathroom stall, sitting on a toilet. One-chan's grimoire was open on my lap. I looked at the clock. It was almost 20 o'clock, time for lights out. If I show up late for roll call before lights out, not only will things get pretty annoying, but it'll cause trouble for my roommates and floor mates. I couldn't care less about causing them trouble, but I don't want them messing with me later. My free time by myself is already over for today. I'll sleep, wake up, tomorrow will begin, and another long, long, grey-colored day will repeat again. I closed the grimoire and rose from the toilet seat. At that time, One-chan appeared again and spoke. Hey, Ange. You're forgetting your training. Take Mammon with you. I'd forgotten. The moment I returned to reality, Mammon's materialization had stopped. One more time, I created a strong image of the existence of Mammon in my mind. Sheesh, you're so mean, Ange-sama. Why'd you erase me so suddenly? At this rate, you won't be able to call all 7 sisters easily. I'm sorry. I got careless. It's been incredibly long since I materialized in the human world, so I'm interested in absolutely everything. I'm getting a bit excited. Where is this? The St. Lucia Academy dormitory. This is a stall in the shared bathroom. Each room has its own bathroom, so no one comes here. It's quiet and perfect for reading books. So in this dorm, you have to hide in a toilet stall even to read a book? Do they burn books or something? I have a 2-person room, so my roommate is always there. Our relationship is gloomy, and it feels like I'm always getting ignored. The atmosphere's bad, so I can't really relax there. And as long as I'm not there, she can do what she likes. Call her friends over and chat away. It's more convenient for them too if I don't return until just before lights out. There's also a library, but there's a group that uses it as a meeting place, and they're always talking behind my back. So I don't like to go there. During lunch, it's the bushes behind the school building. During the night, it's a stall in the shared bathroom in the dorms. Those are the only hideaways where I could find peace. I opened the door to the stall and went out. I turned around, signaling with my eyes for Mammon to come with me. Yeah, we can make an entire light, or what do they call it? Yeah, light novel title with this. Oh my, I'm the only surviving child of the Ushimiya clan, and now one of the 7 Sticks of Purgatory is my roommate. I think I talked about this before, but I read somewhere about how, like, a lot of these light novels, especially because they originate from places like Korea or China, the reason why they have such long-winded titles is because people don't read the backs of books to read the summaries, so instead they just make the titles directly describe whatever happens as a way to tell people, and that's why they're so matter-of-factly. But of course that makes it weird when they localize them into like anime and other media. I don't really get it, but I realize it'd be hard to call this place pleasant for you, Ange-sama. Let's go out quickly. I hate the air here. I mean, you're in a bathroom after all. Really? I think the air here is most decent. When I left the bathroom and entered the corridor, because it was near lights out time, several kids who had gone to play in other rooms were dashing back to their own. When it came time for lights out, we had to change into uniform pajamas that we hated and called prison clothes, line up in the hallway, and go through the dorm leader's roll call. On the off chance that someone was late, we would take collective responsibility, and all the floor mates would have to undergo punishment in the form of volunteer work. As long as I avoided this, the girls would look at me coldly, but they wouldn't get in my way. That alone was enough for me. Namin looked at the passing kids and the furnishings of the dorm with interest. Without paying her any particular attention, I hurried back to my room. In front of my room was my roommate, who had already changed into her prison clothes, chatting with some kids from the room next door. When they noticed me hurrying back, the topic of their conversation noticeably changed. They lowered their voices, stealing glances at me. I acted like I didn't notice, went in my room and changed. Then I hastily went out into the corridor. Everyone was already lined up. Hey, this is weird. I thought this was a school for rich girls. It's like a prison. It's stupid. You think so too? That's what I think. And unlike prison, you don't get out early for good behavior. After bad-mouthing the place, I noticed something. Having someone listen to your complaints feels surprisingly good. Fortunately, Mamon's form could only be seen by her summoner, me. And of course, there was no need to speak out loud for this conversation. All I had to do was speak inside my mind so no one could listen in. Magic, and the friends it creates, might actually not be so bad. All these people are sheltered brats. Feels like they aren't even alive. Kyahaha. Stop it. If you're seen by some chance, it'd be pretty bad, right? Humans without a fragment of hopes or dreams are like a lump of anti-magic. There's no way they'd be able to see me. Huh, you lower life forms can't even see. Are you okay being around so many humans with that much anti-magic resisting toxin? I'm fine as long as you continue to make me materialize, Ange-sama. Although since you probably have to keep concentrating to materialize me, there's a chance you'll neglect your daily life. Look, that girl you're sharing a room with is calling you, right? Huh? Oh. Ushimiya-san, are you listening? About our weekly duties starting next week. She's probably trying to push a few more chores onto me. My roommate, who never even looked at me in the eye normally, was smiling at me unpleasantly. It'll be easier to have the weekly duty pushed onto me alone, rather than doing it together with her. That's a small price to pay, to have her continue to ignore me non-stop. Even so, with a completely shameless excuse, she sidestepped the issue for some reason, and insisted on flipping the situation around, as though I should have come forward and done it of my own initiative. One of the special traits of the Academy is that it's full of girls who don't know how to ask a favor. That kid. She pisses me off. I'd love to gouge her right in the forehead. Yeah, I hope you do one of these days. Yeah, having a friend nearby all the time to complain to makes me happier than I thought it would. It really was lively with all the 7 sisters gathered together. I'm sure just watching them mess around will be a lot of fun. I wanted to gain enough magical power to summon all the 7 sisters at once, and soon. So I'll train much, much more. And finally summon the thing I really wanted to find. What is it you really want to summon, Ange-sama? Mammon noticed my conversation with myself inside my head and asked about it blankly. I hesitated to talk about it, but then figured that there was no reason to hide it and told her. My family. Dad. Mom. Oni-chan. So you mean the souls of the dead? Calling a resident of another world is summoning, while calling back the souls of the dead is called resurrection, and they're completely different. Resurrection is supposed to be a very high-level magic. I know. So much so that even Maria One-chan can't do it at all. But that's the thing I want to find with magic the most. I've been warned that it's very difficult to high-level magic. So great that in the worst case I might not necessarily reach that point even after training my whole life. Furthermore, I have no vessel. A vessel is vital for making magic succeed, whether it's summoning or resurrection. But I don't have that. A magic that would already have been difficult is now hopeless. That's right. I have nothing to remember Dad or Mom by. However, by an extraordinary coincidence, I do have something to remember just Oni-chan by. And that's this. That hair accessory with the pink jewel. What the hell? I hate to say it, but it looks a little cheap for you, Ange-sama. Long ago, without telling Dad, I went with Mom to meet Oni-chan, and we went to play at an amusement park. This is a prize from the crane game there. I know it's cheap, I realize that it doesn't match my style, and I get that it's too childish, but this hair accessory is the only thing that makes me feel as though Battler Oni-chan is by my side. The glass case had been filled with plastic capsules packed with fun-looking things. It seemed that each capsule had some cute accessory in it. The game was to grab those with the crane, but I was young and it was too hard for me. I tried it several times, but I didn't even get close. Mom said that whatever was inside was probably cheap anyway, and we didn't even know what we'd get. So there was no point in getting all upset over it. Hey, Psycho Reaper, welcome to the stream! Thanks for dropping by, I hope you had a good rest. But whether it was something cheap or not wasn't the problem. The process of grabbing happiness with my own hands felt really important and sacred to me. So I wanted the cheap thing inside more than anything. Then, Battler Oni-chan came over after finishing a game of shooting soldiers with a gun and tried to do it for me. With his arms that were longer than mine, Oni-chan grasped the happiness that I couldn't reach. Oni-chan really was coordinated. It seemed he often played with his friends at the arcades. After only 1 or 2 attempts, he grasped the things on the other side of the glass of the crane that I hadn't been able to touch, and threw them into the exit chute. When Oni-chan tossed me that capsule, I remember that he looked very, very reliable. For several days, I felt like opening the capsule would be a waste. Then one day, I finally opened it up. And what revealed itself inside was this pink jeweled hair accessory. Since that day, it's been a symbol for Oni-chan. Since I was young, I felt that having all 4 of us gathered, including Battler Oni-chan, was a precondition for a happy family. So I wanted Oni-chan and Dad to make up quickly. In my own way, I treated this hair accessory as a charm for bringing my whole family together. So I always used to wear it. I want to feel my reliable, fun, and wonderful Oni-chan by my side all the time, and let him live in our house. But my memories of Oni-chan are very distant. I can't do it as easily as Maria One-chan created Sakutaro from a lion-stuffed animal. One day, I'll surely possess the high-level magic to revive the souls of the dead. And the only key, the only vessel that can make that successful is this. I see. I did feel an incredible magical power from that hair accessory, so that's what it was. Magical power? There's magical power in this thing Oni-chan gave me? Maybe I should say that it resides in you, Ange-sama. Your strong desire to call your brother gives you magical power. Resurrection certainly is a high-level magic, but there can be no mistake that you're steadily and unconsciously climbing the stairs towards it. I'm glad. It's nice to hear someone other than myself acknowledge that. Your own effort isn't something you can observe by yourself. In that sense, even though these words came from a shady demon girl who controls one of the 7 deadly sins, they made me very happy. While I can't guarantee you'll obtain the resurrection magic before your life is over, however, your power as a witch is proportional to the height of the mountain you dare to climb. If you don't lose heart, I'm sure you'll rival even our former master, Beatrice, as a great witch someday. I wonder if I can. I wonder if I can become a great witch and revive Oni-chan. No, my family. The Witch of Resurrection, Lady Ange. Yeah, wonderful. A Witch of Resurrection is a very rare kind of witch. Having a master like that would make me pretty proud. Actually, I'd love for that to happen, because furniture's worth is also proportional to the class of its master. Please pass Beatrice-sama up and become a peerless great witch. As a representative of the Seven Sisters of Purgatory, I'll support you from the bottom of my heart. Yeah. I thought that if a magical friend were to appear for me too, a cute kid like Sakatara would be best. But even this fifth sister of the Shady Seven Sisters, who controlled the 7 deadly sins, was enough to calm my heart so much all by herself. Ryone-chan has probably known that since long ago. That's why she recommended the world of witches to me over and over again. And I kept on stubbornly rejecting her. I should have given in and started my training as a witch sooner. A year for a child is worth 10 years for an old person, right? Now I find my past self, which only ever complained, deplorable for wasting my precious time. Long after I turned off the lights and slipped into bed, Mammon continued to talk to me alongside my pillow. I promise. One day for sure I'll develop a magical power that can summon the 7 sisters. And I'll let them have a lively and fun time. The 7 of them make a single whole. None can be left out. Family must be together. I must bring them together. Yeah, Ange be like, Balor, don't be so naive. Don't trust everyone like they're your friend. And then here she is. Something must have happened to her. My awareness began to return slowly. Unable to stand watching Aunt Rosa and Maria One-chan's relationship, I ran away from Bito and Oni-chan's game, didn't I? That happened at like the beginning of the stream. This entire stream has just been a big flashback of Ange in her mind, isn't it? Not that I mind the stuff, like, it's interesting and also builds like Maria and Ange and their backgrounds, but I kind of want to just get back to the murder mystery, you know? That's why episode 4 is not one of my top favorites. There's a lot, not only is it the longest episode between all 8 of them, but there's so much like exposition again. It's good exposition, but man, I'm really itching for some action. I've got to go back. I've got to go back, support Oni-chan, and quickly bring him back from the strange world of the witches game. After all, as long as I'm here, I'm not allowed to call myself Ange. At that time, I felt someone's presence. When I turned around, I could see Mammon there. Gretel-sama. Beatrice-sama said if you do not return soon, it'll become a hindrance to the progression of the game. I beg that you return swiftly. Thank you. I'll go back now. Isn't it great? What is? That you were able to meet Battler Oni-chan. Is that sarcasm? Well, if that's how it sounds, feel free to call it that. I'm sorry. I should have taken it literally. Yeah, you're right. Even in this screwed up world, being able to meet Oni-chan makes me happy from the bottom of my heart. And you'll win against Beatrice for your Oni-chan's sake. Yes. Can't have him playing around in the world like this forever. It's about time for him to return home. That's why I came to call him. Please do the best you can. Although I can't support you since my current master is Beatrice-sama. I know. Until October 5th, 1986, you are Beatrice's furniture. And eventually, you'll become my friend. But eventually, you'll throw that friend away. After all... Ugh. Mammon moaned as if she bit her tongue, staggering as she clutched her chest. Apparently the rules apply to people other than me as well. Are you okay? It's pretty painful. Armand, thank you so much for the stretch as well. Don't forget to stretch if you're at home, and I shall also sit up straight in my seat. Thank you. Excuse me, Gretel-sama. No, thank you. Huh? I'm glad. Glad I was able to meet Oni-chan. That's my answer to your first question. Well, let's go back. If I grumble too much, you'll get in trouble with your current master. Yes, I'm glad you understand. Well then, Mammon? Huh? I'm sure Mammon was about to say, well then this way. But then she stopped, as though the film had been torn off at that point. It looked like she's suddenly frozen. Then I noticed. She wasn't the only thing that had frozen. Even the air and floating bits of dust had frozen in place in empty space. A world where it seemed even time had frozen. Yes, this looks like a portent that Kirostyle would appear. But the atmosphere was different somehow. Then I understood. It wasn't Kirostyle. It was the other witch. How are you feeling, Ange? Lambda Delta. The rules don't apply to you, do they? Of course not. Rules exist to bind others. What kind of idiot would bind themselves with them? Kirostyle is a witch who supports me, but this girl's different. This witch supports Beatrice. In other words, she's a being on the opposing side. But there's some kind of difference between her and Beatrice. Even compared to Kirostyle, there's something strange about Lambda Delta's existence. It's... how should I put it? Maybe it's like she's a being from a higher dimension. In any event, I was still unsure how to deal with her. The only thing that was certain was that she was my enemy. No, just knowing that might be enough, but... So, you have some business with me? Not really. When I listened in on your conversation, it started to get a bit interesting. I thought I'd let you hear something good. You're supposed to be my enemy. I can't think of a reason for you to tell me something that helped me. So the moment I start listening to you, I lose. Bye. See you next time. Don't misunderstand. My opponent is Burn, not you. In other words, it's possible for there to be a topic that benefits both you and me. Sorry, but I don't feel like listening. Although I said that, I probably won't be released from this frozen time until Lambda Delta is satisfied. This itself might be proof that she's in a higher dimension than me. I haven't been given the option of not listening to her. All I can do is try not to be shaken by anything she says, and strengthen my mental guard. She'll probably try to make me believe something disadvantageous to me, threatening me. There's no need to square off like that. I just came to resolve your misunderstanding. No, that's not quite it. I came to let you know about the lie Kirostyle told you. Kirostyle lied? Didn't Burn make it sound like your big brother would come back if you defeated Beto? Who knows? I don't feel like talking with you. My brother coming home. I hadn't been promised anything that dreamlike. Getting just one person, only if I was lucky, had been a promise without very high hopes. That's enough for me. After being promised an eternity of isolation, having a faint but still non-zero chance was like a shining beacon. In a way, that promise of Burn's wasn't a lie. If Burn promised, then I'm sure that if you defeated Beto, Badler and your parents would be released and will come back to you. Then there's no problem. Seriously? That kid is surprisingly cruel. To think she'd deceive you even though she knows. How are you saying I was deceived? Damn, I'm letting her take the initiative. But I won't be released until I lend an ear to her, so it's something I'll have to hear anyway. Even though I realized I was falling into a trap, I urged her forwards. What year is it now? You're talking about the world of the game board. In that case, it's October 4th, 1986. That's right. So if you win against Beto, then on October 6th, when the typhoon has passed, the people who are trapped on the island will return. On October 6th, 1986, that is, right? So what? How was your October 6th, 1986? You were at your relative's house, right? I've been at the house of the only Sumadera my mother trusted, Grandpa. We got a call. When I was playing with building blocks in the tatami room, we got that call. After watching to make sure I'd remembered, Lambda Delta laughed unpleasantly, and spoke. Hey! On your October 6th, 1986, did Badler Oni-chan come home? Even though I didn't understand what she was saying, I noticed an unpleasant sweat seeping out over my face. I don't get it. I don't get it. What is this witch saying? See? If you defeat Beto, Badler will certainly be released. And he'll probably return home. To his home, in 1986. After all, that's how it is, right? Badler was locked up from the 4th to the 5th of October in 1986. It's only natural that he returned the next day if he were to be released, right? And you? You're a person from the year 1998. You're Ushimi Ange of the year 1998 where Badler did not return. You know what that means? What are you talking about? If my family came back home on October 6th, wouldn't that be wonderful? I'd come home from Grandpa's house right away, and then we'd meet. Everyone would be happy. Yes, Ushimi Ange probably would be reunited with her family. The 6-year-old Ushimi Ange from 1986 would, right? Who am I? Ushimi Ange, an 18-year-old one. No, that's not it. You aren't Ushimi Ange. You're a witch's piece with that name. Strictly speaking, the name Ange Beatrice belongs to a completely different person. You know what that means? I don't really get it anymore. Huh? Huh? Who am I? Huh? And that's why I think Burn's cruel. No, I think she's a meanie. Especially since it's not like she hasn't gone through the same thing herself. Am I being tricked? Somehow. Yeah, but please don't blame Burn, okay? After all, depending on how you look at it, that kid isn't lying. If Bito's defeated, your family will be returned. Returned to Ushimiya Ange. But she probably didn't say that this Ushimiya Ange would be you, right? Was it like that? Was it like that? What did Burn Castell say to me again? Your assistance is required. Your family needs it. Burn Castell started by saying that. Then I spoke. If I save them, does that mean my family will come home? And how did Burn Castell answer that again? I cannot promise that. She did make me a promise in exchange for accepting this fight. Yes, that is what she said. In exchange, I will search for a fragment with the ideal world that you wish for. A world where your family comes home. Yes, that's right. She didn't say any more than she'd look for it. She didn't say she'd find it. But I was prepared for that from the beginning. But even so, that child promised that as long as I didn't give up, there was a faint chance of it happening. And in the end, she said this. I'm giving you a chance for revenge. In exchange, I promise to search for and bring you the happiest resolution among the possibilities you're capable of accepting. I've known it was a tough bet from the very beginning. After all, I have no family in my 1998. Even just a small chance of shaking that absolute zero would be worth it. I was warned beforehand that even if I succeeded in my revenge, it might just be a wasted effort. So, yeah, there's no lie in that part. Bito's game board is perfect. Even having you around makes the chances of Bito losing so slim that it's doubtful you could even dream of it happening once in your life. In other words, your chance of winning is almost zero. So absolutely, it can be regarded as infinitely close to zero. So Burn can be forgiven for saying that part in such an evasive way. But I can say for sure that she was tricking you when she let you get your hopes up. After all, even if you could overcome astronomical odds and win, the person your family will come back to isn't you. It's the 6-year-old Ange that exists in this 1986, the true Ushimiya Ange, not you. Burn will still probably go around in the billions of fragments searching for the best world for you. But that didn't she tell you? That she planned on bringing it to you as a present and wasn't able to find it. She did. You're finally starting to notice, aren't you? No reward has been prepared for you in this battle. No, to the contrary, when Smash Bito's game board will disappear, then you as a piece will disappear. The sort of goal you'd be capable of accepting is completely... No. I'll proclaim it upon my name. Upon the name of the Witch of Certainty, Lambda Delta. I proclaim that it certainly doesn't exist. That can't be. That's what Burn lied about. Or should I call it speaking in riddles? She made you misunderstand and think you could be saved. I came to clear that up. In other words, no matter how hard I fight, no matter how hard I pursue victory, my family won't come back to me. Right, they won't come back. With certainty. Oh, the Witch of Certainty says it with certainty. Isn't this incredible? Several ancient kings have dedicated historical buildings to me because they wanted me to give them certainty, and here I am graciously giving it to you as a present. Isn't this really incredible, cute, and marvelous? Oh, but I have a single good proposition for you. Damn, I'm getting completely overwhelmed. I knew I shouldn't have listened, and now I'm starting to be overwhelmed by this witch Lambda Delta. My opponent is Burn, not you. Didn't I just say it's possible for the two of us to talk about something that benefits us both? I've said that from the beginning. So listen to me. You have no choice. Okay. I'll listen. I've just gotta listen, right? I finally lost control over my emotions and exploded from the inside. I don't have a clue anymore. I believed that I was Ange, but at some point I stopped being Ange. That's right. I'm Ange, not Ange? Who am I? I'm not my parents' child, nor my brother's little sister. I'm just a piece in a witch's game. There's no need to be so pessimistic. I mean, think about it, okay? Right now, you're together with Battler Oni-chan. While it's true that you can't tell him your name, at least you're positioned as his ally in a game where he battles a witch. And you're able to be with him for all eternity. Know what that means? I can't stand it. But I understand. In other words, as long as Oni-chan keeps getting a tie in this game, it will continue forever. Continuing to tie means continuing the game for eternity, and it means I can remain with Oni-chan as a piece. But if Oni-chan wins or loses, and the curtain closes on the game, you as a piece will disappear. How do you define happiness for a game piece? Getting used by someone playing the game, nothing more. You won't find it when the game's shut in a closet gathering dust, right? In the past, the Seven Sisters of Purgatory said it as well. Furniture's happiness comes from being used, not being stored away. That's right. I am now the witch's furniture. Let's change things around a bit. To be honest, I want this game to continue in a tie for all eternity. An unending game is an eternal cage. An absolute closed room that never opens for all time, and that'll make Burn finally surrender. You know, Bito does want to win a bit. Victory by making Battler surrender. But that's actually a problem for me. After all, if the game ends, the closed room will fall apart. So I'll go easy on Battler a bit to stop him from surrendering. Don't worry, okay? When Battler's about to surrender, I'll become his ally. But you know, I get the feeling that Bito is faintly starting to realize. I think she's starting to realize that her victory won't come for all eternity in this game. But she is, of course, the endless witch. Bito's stupid, so she optimistically thinks that even so, she'll surely win eventually. It's like she just has to repeat this game on and endlessly. Of course, pretty much all blondes are morons. In this game of witches, there will never be a victory or a loss. I won't let her win, and I won't let her lose. With certainty. Burn noticed that, so she looked for the most powerful piece for breaking that deadlock, found you and threw you in. To make this game end, you see. To make this game end. What's a piece's role when the game ends? I'll state it clearly. Your existence is a contradiction. Your reason for existing is to bury yourself in the darkness and despair. My goal is to defeat Bito and release my captive family, and yet, even if I succeed, I won't be rewarded. You cannot lose, and you won't be rewarded if you win. So, I brought you a third choice, and that choice will make our interests coincide. Continuing the tie for all eternity. Yes, as long as the tie continues forever, this world will not crumble. What is this world? It's the world of the game with the witch. A world where Bito and Battler fight for all eternity. At the same time, it's a world where you get to be with Battler for all eternity. My head was spinning. That confusion became a hot liquid, and I felt it pouring from my eyes. It was so hot that it felt like it burned my face. Right? Ange, Beatrice? Since Burn Costello's goal is to end the game, and end the world where you and Battler can interact, why should you be her ally? That kid tricked you, you see. She made it look like you might be saved if you became her piece. But I won't deceive you there. So I'll say it, Ange. Become my chess piece. Unlike Burn, I won't offer you rewards based on lies that certainly will never be granted. As long as you become my piece and help me so this world certainly never ends, then with certainty I'll swear upon my name that this world will certainly continue. That's not all. I'll add on a bonus. The rule that binds you. I'll clear it away for you. Well, of course, I'll only do it after you've sworn to become my piece, okay? In my own throat, there was a thick, loud, gulping sound. Oh, I shouldn't have listened. If I hadn't listened, I could have remained an innocent little sister, praying for my brother's victory. But I might be different now. I might have been degraded into a witch's furniture, one that cares about nothing but being by Oni-chan's side. I'm not telling you to betray your brother, okay? If it looks like Balor's gonna lose, you can save him with all you've got. On the other hand, when Balor closes in on Bito too much, I want you to hold back a little. That's all I'm asking, alright? Don't worry, there's no need to actually betray Balor. Balor can't win against Bito alone. That's why Burn threw you in, you see. As long as you don't lend a hand, Balor will be unable to win against Bito for all eternity. See? It's really simple, isn't it? Hey CV, welcome to the stream. You can see the whole game board's getting a little bit more complicated with all these new characters and pieces and everyone's motivations. Hey, that's mine. Give it back. No, I'll eat it. Asmo, pass. Over here, Leviah One-sama. I wonder where they swiped it from. They were fighting over a donut or something, playing around really loudly. Hey! Ange-sama's reading, so can't you be a little bit more quiet? Yelling stuff like that only makes you the loudest one, Satan. Be silent. Foolish little sister. You're the loud one, Lucifer One-sama. Is there something you'd like to say to me? I was already used to the oldest and the third oldest sister arguing with each other. Even though they'd both been so quick to anger, it's a bit funny how they're both having to hold back a little. They might be surprisingly like each other. You were told to be noisy, but this is a bit too much. Should I make them lower the volume a little? They can mess around all they want. It's 100 times more pleasant than the shrill laughter in the classroom. Ange-sama, go to the next page quickly. You read really slow. You like to read, Mammon? You look like you'd be the worst at doing boring things. Mammon controls greed. That also includes a thirst for knowledge. Still, she wants to keep that knowledge all for herself, so be warned that she refuses to let people read any book you give her, and sometimes burns them after reading them. I like knowing things no one else knows. I like being able to do things no one else can do. So I like studying and practicing, because I want to keep wisdom that no one else knows about all to myself. As Mammon said that, her eyes sparkling, she peered down at the page that was open and read through it again. You could see the greed that made her covet that page even more thoroughly than I did. As you can see, my magical power has grown much stronger than it was on the first day I summoned them. But now I've gotten so that I can summon all of the 7 sisters at Purgatory at once, and still calmly read a book like this. This place, although I can't recall exactly where it is a quiet and calm street side bench. I've been young back then, so I don't remember the details of its location. Still, I remember my days walking here were a lot of fun. Together with Dad, Mom, and even Oni-chan, it was a memory of a very rare and very happy day when everyone had been together. The people who walked by every once in a while didn't notice me. They just pleasantly ignored me and passed by as though everything was normal. Even the 7 sisters' incredible outfits weren't embarrassing or anything, because it wasn't like anyone was actually watching. Come to think of it, I'm getting pretty used to it, as long as they don't make me wear those. I was sitting on a stylish bench, memorizing a timeline for world history. In an academy system where everything is based on collective responsibility, there's no tolerance for dunces. It seemed that I was considerably below the average grade for the class, according to those extremely intelligent girls. If I alone improved my grade, the average would rise drastically. They had been kind enough to show me with a graph drawn by colorful pens on a B4 sheet of drawing paper. Just thinking of the effort it had taken to draw that was repulsive, but I had already spat out all those complaints. I've already voiced my constant and furious anger and sadness to these girls here. the sisters, were sometimes indignant, sometimes sympathetic, and sometimes mourned along with me. I was truly happy to be able to share emotions like that with friends. It's said that they were originally furniture that existed to carry out Beatrice's cruel sacrifice ceremony. According to the occult message bottle I hated, it seems that several of them even attacked my family. But I don't believe that, and it's pointless to question them about it. They are furniture, so they only respond to their master's requests. Even if they really did attack my family, I can't hate them. What I really hated was the Golden Witch Beatrice, or else that ringleader of the Ushimiya suspicion, Aunt Ava. Ange-sama, quickly, the next page! Oh, sorry. I'm tired. Mind if I take a break? Ange-sama said break. Let's play, let's play! Ange-sama, let's play! When they noticed I had interrupted my studying, the most energetic youngest sisters gathered around me. And that wasn't all. Even Maria One-chan and Sakataro showed themselves. They probably had been very close by, but they must have hid themselves so they wouldn't interrupt my studying. Ew, Ange, how's studying? How's studying? Yeah, Sakataro, how are you? Wait a second, let me squeeze him too. Don't we always say that the first one there gets their wins? Ah, cute, cute. Ugh, you're crushing me. Are you? Your luck ran out when you showed up while all 7 sisters were gathered. Give up and let us hug you. Come on, it always turns out this way. I apologize for my stupid older and younger sisters. Sakataro's happy to meet everyone too. How's it going, Ange? How's the studying going? Thanks. Well, not bad. They were nice enough to pass around printouts from a quiz that another class took earlier. Their beautiful sense of solidarity is enough to bring tears to my eyes. Well, at least it's probably better to put a timeline into my head. Are you? You sure are good at studying, Ange. You'll be able to get a lot of points, are you? Good work. I was terrible at studying, so I'm jealous of you for being able to get a good score when you study hard. You're joking. When it comes to English, Latin, and knowledge of the occult, you're much more amazing for being able to remember so much. I can remember anything when studying magic, but I can't remember anything boring. So that didn't help at all for tests. Well, it's true that occult knowledge would be like that, but your grades must have been pretty good in English, right? In the first year of elementary school, on a Japanese language test, there was a problem when I was given a picture of a gun and was told to write its name in 4 squares. It got marked wrong because I wrote the English word rifle in katakana. Why? Doesn't that fit? It was supposed to be the Japanese word for gun in hiragana. I was told it's wrong because you don't learn katakana in 1st grade. I didn't really get it. So from that day on tests I wrote everything in hiragana. But I got in trouble with mama for some reason. Got in trouble with the teachers too. You were probably born in the wrong country, One-chan. Then I'd rather been born in a country of witches, so I could enter a witch school. If that happened, you might have had much more wonderful magical friends. Are you? But it's not like I mind it now. After all, I can use lots of magic, and I've got lots of magical friends. Sakataro's all I need. I'm not the only one. There's also Sakusuke and Sakukichi, the animal band, Shimoda-kun, the seal, and Sanae-san, the rabbit, Mr. Pig-kun, and plenty more. Incredible, the number of One-chan's friends keeps increasing. Every time I ask, the number of names for her friends grows. But there's no doubt that Sakataro is her best friend. I'm a little jealous of all those close friends. What do you think? How are the 7 sisters? Do you get along with them? Those sisters are really energetic. They sometimes say shady stuff, but they aren't bad. I'd want to get a cute kid like Sakataro, but I think being with them now is more than enough. If you learn more of my magic of origins, I'm sure you'll be able to give birth to friends you'll like, Ange. Creation is still a bit too hard for you now. There's a difference between creation and summoning, and resurrection is also different. So your greatest wish really is to revive your family? Yes, I have a vessel for it. This. That's right. I'm sure that hair accessory will eventually become the key to summoning Battler. The rest is up to your training, Ange. Although not knowing how long it'll take is enough to make me cry. Stay strong, even if it's tough. If you don't give up, Ange, it will definitely come true someday. If someone gave me proof that it'd definitely be granted, at least it would calm my heart. Then I guarantee it. Without a doubt, Ange will surely have her wish granted someday. Thanks. I'm glad to hear it, even if you're just saying it to console me. It's not like that. Stop it, Ange. That kind of emotion will turn into the magic-resisting toxin. The feeling that your dreams will definitely come true is the best seed that buds into magical power. That's right. Sorry, teacher. You need to be a bit greedier, Ange-sama. Go however far it takes to get the thing you desire. You're lacking the willpower to never give up until you try it. That isn't true. Ange is doing her best. Thanks, Sakataro. Mammon. Crying about it won't help anything. There's nothing I could do except hang in there. I'll try hard. I'll grit my teeth. I'll definitely make my dreams come true. With certainty. You kind of wish that they gave them different color outfits or accessories for the timeline. Yeah. I mean, at least Ange has her, like, school uniform on, so you can kind of tell the timeline. In the original visual novel, there's actually less outfits. Like, almost everyone just wore the same outfit, but then when they did the PS3 version, they actually made extra outfits. Like, they made, for example, Rosa only had one outfit in the original visual novel, but then this one, she also has a casual outfit that she wears when she's at home with Maria, for example. So there are a couple new outfits in here that were not, because again, in the original visual novel, all the drawings were drawn by Ryukishi, and he's not an amazing artist, but he prefers to draw his own pictures just so he can get his ideas across. So that's why he doesn't like hire people to draw his character sprites in the original visual novels. Even for Higurashi and Chiconia, he still continues to draw his own art for those ones, which is pretty admirable too. You're awesome, Ange. Do your best. Mammon and I will support you. Yes, we'll support you. The greedier our master is, the more our worth will increase. More importantly, Ange-sama, we finally got 10 people gathered here. We plan to have everyone play Shiratori or something. If you lose, there's a punishment game. Let me nibble your ears. Come on, is hunger the only thing inside the head of yours? Please forgive my foolish sister's stupid proposals. Are you sure it isn't about time you return to your studying? No. I waited so long for you to finish studying, I can't stand it if you don't play with us. I don't think it's a bad idea. Perhaps playing every once in a while is good for softening the mind. You govern sloth, right, Belpha? What you're saying sounds reasonable, but you're actually being sneaky, aren't you? Huh. My apologies. You are diligent, Ange-sama. If it's okay with Ange, I'd also like to play with everyone. Let's make some noise. It'll definitely be fun. Ange, let's play! Let's all do Shiratori. In that case, let's start from Sakataro's Uryu. In that case, which sound should we start the next word from? Oh, it's like a word game. Ryu or you? From Uryu, I wonder. Maybe it really should be Ryu. It's rare for a word that ends like that to come up. Then I'm first. I'll do a word starting with Ryu. Ryuzu, watch crown. I wanted to go first. Ryuto, lute, would have been wonderful. Zu, feels like we keep getting tough ones. Wait a sec, what order are we going in? Who's next? I don't think it matters who. Whoever thinks of a matching word first. What's that? Sounds interesting. How about the person who can say the most wins? It's a fast-talking Shiratori. Then I'll go zucchini, niniku itame, garlic stir-fry, mikabu with pasta. So again, here's where you can tell that it was like a fan translation. They directly translated everything, but they didn't like try to localize it into words that would make sense for a game for us. Like zucchini here works for English, but the other ones don't. It was just a direct translation, which is why the translation might sound a bit weird at times, because they didn't localize it, they just translated it. Which again, amazing effort on their part. This is an extremely long novel, so it's not a diss on them. I'm just saying professional localization is different than direct translation, which is often forgotten for purists and people like that when they come to these arguments. All of them delicious. Yeah, I said 3 of them. Bells takes 3 points. Can you use conjunctions? If you could use with, then anything would work. That last one doesn't count. -1 point. Let's start from me. Then I'll go. Meringue. Get pseudo drainage system. Umatatechi, reclaim land. Chikashitsu, basement. How'd you like them apples? Onesama, those are pretty crummy words. So what? Then why don't you try following up with something refined? Anyway, that's 3 points for me. The next one's Tsu. Okay, Tsu. I've never played such a weird Shiratori before. It's fun. Do you? I don't get it at all, but it's fun. Do you? I've played normal Shiratori before, but I've never experienced a Shiratori this weird. There's only the lively 7 sisters, Maria One-chan and Sakataro and me. I'm now surrounded by friends that are fun to be with. The courage to accept a world of magic, a world of witches. That alone didn't change the fact that I was still locked up in an academy, without a single friend in my class. But despite that, I'm able to have such a fun and lively time. I'll also become a witch, like Maria One-chan, and someday I'll add my family to this fun circle. Dad, Mom, and Oni-chan. And if possible, George Oni-chan and Jessica One-chan. And the other relatives. I'll call everyone. Everyone here without a single person missing will all gather together. This is my dream. That's right. Until I make that come true, I definitely won't lose heart. I'm sure you'll become a great witch, Ange-sama, as long as you believe in that. We 7 Stakes of Purgatory will always serve by your side until that day comes. You'll be there for me? No matter how long, you'll lend me your strength? Of course! After all, I'm your friend, right, Ange-sama? Yes, that's right. Let's all stick together and play together. Today, and in the future. Always. Always. Until the day your dreams come true, Ange-sama. The lively 10-person game of Shiratori, alongside a street cut off from time under the constantly bright rays of the sun, could have continued forever. Wait, seriously, what's going on, Ushimiya-san? In the end, I wasn't able to get a very good grade on my test. I tried memorizing things in my own way, but if you could manage anything by cramming the night before a test, no one would ever worry about tests. Normally, when you know the problems beforehand, you should be able to pass easily, right? Easily. It's true that we didn't go so far as to write the answers into the blanks for you. We thought you'd study at least that much. What the hell? Come on, are you serious? I can't believe it. They're almost all wrong, aren't they? Did you really study properly? More or less. This isn't what you call more or less, Ushimiya-san. It's so horrible, it makes me dizzy, okay? Oh god, please forgive her for getting a miserable grade on such an easy test, and for making the average score for the entire class plummet. Yep, we had a nice change of pace and now it's back to Umineko. The same tests had been given in another class first. That test paper had been obtained, so the average score for our class had been unusually high. Enough to obscure my slight improvement. However, there were some things I had no excuse for. If I'd spent that entire day studying like mad, I might have been able to get a slightly higher score. But I hadn't gone that far. After that, on that day, I spent the whole time having fun playing Shiratori with the 7 sisters, Sakataro and One-chan. As expected, the winner had been Maria One-chan. She was a strong player thanks to her wide knowledge of trivia. Sakataro had gotten the punishment game. He spent the whole time cheering for everyone else's answers, completely forgetting to think of any himself. Forgetting, I guess. Because of that, he'd been squished by the 7 sisters and had his ears thoroughly nibbled, hadn't he? Hey, are you listening, Ushimiya-san? They were surrounding me, twittering like small birds. They were annoying, smelly, On the outside of the circle was Mammon, an exasperated expression on her face. This is a messed up school, just like usual. Shouldn't you be more happy as long as your own grades are good? It's probably because of that collective responsibility thing. Instead of worrying about their own grades, they're more concerned about how embarrassing it is for the class average to be low. Or maybe it's because they really hate the volunteer work they're forced to do as punishment. So in other words, they aren't studying because they want their grades to be good, but because of collective responsibility, and since they hate volunteer work. They're jealous and embarrassed. They don't want to be inferior to anyone, and they don't want to be humiliated. That's the only feeling that drives them to study. What noisy people. If they want to study, why can't they just do it themselves? In the end, without collective responsibility and volunteer work, they'd have no desire to study. How foolish it is to study without knowing the meaning of studying. Still, these guys really are annoying and stupid. Don't you dare disturb Ange on his precious day for even a minute. I hate those people. Just get lost. I'm hungry. Go away now, wah. Sorry, everyone. I wonder why humans are so shameful. It's probably because instead of working hard themselves, it's easier to make you work hard and earn them a higher class average to satisfy their greed. Humans are all greedy, and they'll burden others with their greed to make things easier for themselves. We'll eventually be reunited with them on the mountain of purgatory. When they get to the 5th terrace, they better watch their step. Mammon controls the 5th terrace of the mountain that reaches to heaven, Mount Purgatory. Since she's saying this, you can probably be sure that after those girls die, their journey to heaven won't be an easy one. No, on the contrary, let them just fall into hell. The class committee went to the student council and applied to use a classroom during lunch and after school. The purpose of use was for a class study group. A wonderful little gathering so they could all surround me and make me study. I'm so grateful I could cry. Which meant that every day, all of my lunch and 3 hours of my afternoon would be stolen. The Academy and its student council, with its theme of student self-government, instantly approved of this pleasant activity that the students were taking up of their own initiative. In other words, I was no longer able to escape after school by leaving the classroom. After school, the first class study group meeting started right away. Would they open a textbook, then kindly and carefully explain so that even I could understand it? Of course, it didn't turn out like such naive illusion. After school in the classroom, dozens of my classmates crowded around my desk. First, before we started studying, why were my grades so bad? What was the reason? It was decided we wouldn't start until I could clearly answer those questions, become aware of the problem, and show regret for my actions. Of course, there's no way for me to respond when asked a question like that. They've loathed me all this time, and they've rejected me and kept me at a distance, preventing me from joining in on their community. So I've avoided their community myself. There shouldn't have been any conflict for either of us that way. So even in this group that was enthusiastic about raising the class average, they obviously kept me at a distance. Even if I tried to join in, they would probably ignore me like they always did in the past. If you just ask, who would have taught you whatever you wanted? Right? Or we would have taught you whatever you wanted, right? Right? They were getting themselves all worked up. I've already had enough of the hypocrisy of their tacked-on excuses. Ushimi-san, your problem is you're lacking a cooperative personality. You mustn't be satisfied as long as everything's good for you alone. Those who gather in St. Lucius' place of learning shall have a cooperative heart. It's written right there in the student handbook, right? I think having a cooperative heart is what gives birth to the desire to study together and contribute to the entire class. I believe itself is the thing you lack before you even start studying, Ushimi-san. Well, what do you say? Hey, have you even been listening to us? We went to all the trouble of staying after school to say this for your sake, right? I'm so grateful I could cry. Of course, they didn't like that. This way, it almost makes it look like we're bullying you, they reprimanded me. Fortunately, I'm normally all cried out anyway. If I'm told not to cry, I can hold it back. First, I was made to write a letter of remorse and read it out loud. Of course, this was to be done by today. The class committee politely applied to the student council and the staff room for an extension on the use of this classroom. It seems it was accepted right away. Which means that starting now, I'll be forced into self-criticism for at least a full 5 hours here. Ushimi Ange got a low score on her test and caused trouble for her classmates. That's not it, right? You're getting low grades and causing us trouble isn't the root of the problem, is it? It's a cooperative attitude, right? A cooperative attitude. Come on. Why do we even have to direct Ushime-san on how to write a letter of regret? Their abusive jeers flew about one after another. I followed their directions and erased it. Ushime Ange didn't have a cooperative attitude and caused trouble for her classmates. Hey, wait a sec, it's pointless if you just write whatever we say, right? Do you really know what regret means? It's pointless if you don't write it in your own words. Pointless. I always thought you were a bit strange, Ushime-san, but you really are weird. Even following their directions didn't change the jeers that much, and now it felt like they were mocking me even more. So for several months, without rest, without even being allowed to go to the bathroom, or several more hours, not months. Without rest, without even being allowed to go to the bathroom, much less dinner, I was constantly abused. I was coerced into writing a paragraph that humiliated myself. At about 9 o'clock that night, I was told to stand up and read it aloud. The contents were smeared black with tears and eraser marks. It certainly was my handwriting, but it was like a list of soulless letters, whose contents I couldn't even remember. Everything had been copied down according to their orders. So while I had been the one to write the letters, they weren't my words. I'd been coerced into writing them down, and even coerced into reading them aloud. Even after all this time, I was surprised to learn that beyond just ignoring people and hiding their things, there are other ways to bully people. Hey! Read it aloud quickly! Look how many people are staying this late just for you, Ushime-san. Why not thank us a little? Isn't the fact that she doesn't feel gratitude a sign that she doesn't have a scrap of a cooperative attitude? It's okay, Ushime-san. We'll always be with you from now on. Why not study with us and remake yourself, okay? As I stood by my seat, surrounded by them, I dropped my gaze towards the blackened page. And then I spoke those humiliating words. But right away, jeers flew at me, saying they couldn't hear and to speak up. I can't read it. I had no idea that being forced to read a paragraph humiliating me would be so painful. Yeah, they use the witch laugh for a lot of things in this game. My throat shook. My fingertips shook. A paragraph of humiliation written in my own handwriting made my eyes burn with a hot liquid. So my world blurred and twisted. I saw the girls surrounding me twist and bend. I saw them twist and bend into the impression I had of them. In other words, that was my true field of vision. Beyond that twisted crowd of people, I could see my friends. Compassion could be seen in all their eyes. Ange, stay strong. Ryone, Chan, and Sakataro were looking at me with sad eyes, probably because they realized that even cheap words of compassion would hurt me. They kept alternating between trying to say something and hanging their heads. What the hell's wrong with these people? They're just the worst. It really pisses me off. What's so fun about gathering around Ange-sama and torturing her? It's a resentment they can't voice despite their jealousy. They don't care who it hurts as long as they can let it out. What horrible people. Ange-sama, in this kind of situation, it's okay to go mad with rage for your own honor's sake. Anger is an appropriate emotion and an appropriate reaction. If you don't get mad now, when will you get mad? Stop it. Don't stir Ange-sama up with cheap anger. If Ange-sama could do that, she would have done it already. You should only get angry if doing so will improve the situation. However, from an objective standpoint, doing that now would probably only aggravate the situation further. It may be humiliating, but the wisest thing to do now is to withstand it. You really are a sloth, Belpha. Quit fooling around, I can't stand this. I can't forgive them. Everyone, calm down. It'll all become a burden for Ange. A burden? What are you talking about? Is this a time or place to be calm? We furniture are not so cruel as to coolly watch when our master is humiliated. Ange-sama, you have no obligation to read such a humiliating letter. If you can't let out a cry of rage, then at least throw it onto the floor. Yeah, you got that little devil on her shoulder. Don't you just want to go batshit sometimes, Ange-sama? You don't need to trash talk them. You don't need to yell so loud that they bend over backwards. Just throw the notebook on the floor with all your might. By doing just that, you'll be able to show your strong will. Don't start running on by yourself, Mammon. I told you, right? If Ange-sama could do it, she would have done so long ago. Nothing will be resolved by the eruption of momentary emotions. Can't you see that doing that will only make their treatment of Ange-sama even more severe? Well, why is this happening to Ange-sama when she didn't do anything wrong? Not letting her eat dinner, making her stay so long after school, I hate it. It's not just tonight, but tomorrow and the day after too. That's enough, you can't simply sit there bearing this humiliation. Hey, are you even really listening to us? Someone tugged at my hair. I was torn back in my tragic reality. I was no longer even permitted to listen to the seven sisters speaking on my behalf in my heart. My hair was lifted upwards, one of my hair ornaments came off, and I could hear the sound of it rolling on the ground. No one picked it up. To the contrary, they casually avoided it, as though something filthy was rolling towards them. I tried to follow it with my eyes, but my hair was tugged upwards again. Why do you never listen to us, even though we're talking about something so serious? In one ear and out the other, is it? Does anything get into that thick skull of yours? Get a grip, okay? Are you really conscious of the trouble you're causing us? You aren't going to start saying that you just wrote it grudgingly because we told you to, right? Until you really show regret of your own will, this seriously isn't going to end, okay? It's not just for today. It's seriously keep on going tomorrow and the day after, you see? Don't you play us for fools, okay? I mean, why are you even still alive? Is it normal to go on living like this? If it were me, I'd just die. You can't live like this, can you? Because you believe being alive just means getting in other people's way all the time, right? If it were me, I definitely could live on. Yeah, I'd die too. If doing that's better for the world, then I'd die right away. Right? And then die. Ange-sama. Kill all of them now! Lucifer, can you hear me? You seven sisters of purgatory are incredible furniture that can massacre mere humans in a flash, right? You're always boasting about it to me. Then do it! Massacre them right now. Right here, right now. Well, for some reason Lucifer hesitated. Why? What's wrong? You're certain kill furniture that can fly around faster than the eye can see and instantly pierce the hearts of a witch's enemies, right? And I'm giving you an order as your master. Carry it out right away. Kill. Kill them all. Ange-sama, please calm down. If they had immediately followed my brutal order, making heaps of corpses with me at the center, I was ready to reflect on my own reckless actions of stealing human lives so readily, ready to regret and repent, just as they wanted me to. I was prepared to do that. And yet Lucifer just let out an unsure expression rise to her face and didn't move to carry out my order. I knew it. Yeah, I knew it. Vaguely. No, that's not right. I've known from the beginning. I've known that magic was all empty this whole time, haven't I? Seven Sisters of Purgatory? Yeah, right. Stupid. So pointless. I've known it the whole time. Ange-sama! Ah! I glared into the worthless Lucifer's eyes, and pain seemed to accompany that gaze. As though she was being assaulted with a violent headache, Lucifer grasped her head with both arms, but it looked like she couldn't tear her eyes off my gaze. So she was assaulted with a pain that grew more and more violent. Ow. Useless. Useless. I hate you. Disappear. You're nothing but a delusion inside my head. Hopelessness and disappointment. Resignation and a dream's end. A cracking sound, like you'd hear from a frozen lake's surface during a fierce winter, rang out just once. At the same time, Lucifer's form, which was being tormented by violent pain, stiffened in place and grew cloudy. It was almost as though a beautifully polished glass window had been heartlessly smashed and turned white from the countless fissures. And that was an accurate analogy. At some point, Lucifer's form had turned into a glass ornament of the same shape. Countless fissures ran through it from the inside, and as the head and arms collapsed, it crumbled to the floor. Lucina. Who's the second sister? Leviathan? Carry out my order. Massacre them right now. No, Ange-sama. please calm your heart and listen. We, I'm not looking for excuses or backtalk or an answer. I want nothing more than a swift confirmation of my order to eradicate the girls who are humiliating me. If you're going to say anything else, there's no need for me to listen until the end. After Leviathan also turned white due to countless cracks through her body, she fell over backwards, splitting into separate parts along her neck, hips, and arms. If she'd been smashed to bits and lost her original form, it probably wouldn't have seemed so brutal. So seeing the two of them halfway left over made the remaining younger sister shake even harder. Why won't you listen to my orders? Why? Why? My apologies. Here, under the current conditions, the anti-magic power is extremely strong and... What's that? You can't do it because humans are here? That's your logic? Isn't killing humans what you do? If you can't do that, then what use are you as furniture? Die. Please spare me, Ange-sama. Oh. As she clutched her head with both arms, Satan also turned white and fell down face first. Apparently the neck is the most slender part after all. Her head slid off and rolled over to Belphegor's feet. You can't do it because there are too many humans? Then later on I'll call them into the shadows one by one, and you can make a bloodbath of all of them, right? With your current magical power, it may be easy for you to converse with us. However, you still lack the training to materialize us in front of the humans here. I deeply understand your anger, but even if you could use us to attack and murder everyone here, that would only make your situation worse. I know it's humiliating, but please control your anger for the time being. Will I get the same answer for the next three? Are you gonna tell me you can't do it because the anti-magic power is too great? Are you gonna tell me you can't do it because my magical power is too weak? Then I won't ask you to kill all of them. Just one person's fine, so try and kill them. Right here, right now. As Asmodeus and Beelzebub held each other, they crouched down, cringing in fear under my glare. If they'd been able to obey my order, they probably would have carried it out immediately. And yet here they were, crouching down. Empty. Sad. And pathetic. That's right. I've known. These girls can't even touch reality with one of their fingers. No! No! Bells, I'm scared. Bells? Ange-sama, spare us! Spare us! I don't want to die. Die. Useless furniture. Why are you guys even alive? Why are you alive when your lives are worthless? It doesn't matter if you die, right? Die. I'm telling you to die. Do you think any idiot would leave furniture that has no use lying around? Please stop, Ange-sama. What is it, Mammon? Are you going to be the only one to fulfill my order? That's right. You're my best friend. You alone will do it for me. Get them. As you are now, Ange-sama, even if you use us, you aren't capable of committing murder. It's furniture's duty to help with things their master can do. Things that even the master can't do, we can't do. Do you hate them, Ange-sama? You hate them, right? I totally understand why you want to kill them. Okay, in that case, go ahead and kill them, Ange-sama. If you stain your own hands with blood, then we, the Seven Sisters of Purgatory, will go along with you however far you go. I'm asking you all, because I can't do it myself, aren't I? Isn't being able to do things I can't the thing that makes you furniture? Yes, we are furniture. Furniture to be used. Please, go ahead and use us to kill. You'll be the one killing, Ange-sama. If you're saying that you want to kill, then go ahead. Be my guest. No need to hesitate. Go on and carry it out right now. And once you've prepared yourself mentally, once you're prepared to dirty your own hands, then we'll help you. But you haven't done that, Ange-sama. Don't speak, furniture. You delusion. I get it already. You don't all have to tell me. You people can't do anything. You're nothing more than my delusions, illusions, daydreams. I haven't a single friend from the beginning. You're just a phantom, a pretend friend I created in my heart, in my isolation, right? I've known from the very beginning. Yeah, that's right. We're an illusion inside your head, Ange-sama, but so what? Yes, that's true. We're just imaginary friends created to soothe lonely Ange-sama's heart because she doesn't have a single friend. So what? If you want to look at reality, just look at it. You can stop looking at us and return to being surrounded and bathed with jeering over there. Come on, go back. Welcome home to reality. Just call on us only when it's convenient for you and pretend you have friends. Then spur us on even though you don't have the guts to dirty your own hands, then deny and erase us once you realize it's hopeless. Yes, please enjoy it. I'll leave with a shriek of anguish just like you want, Ange-sama. Just copy the jeering that you're being showered with right now. And do the same to us to get it off your chest. That's also furniture's duty. Getting slammed against the floor when someone's pissed off is also a chair's important duty. If that alone can absorb their master's bad mood even for an instant, there can be no greater honor for furniture. Kill me, deny me, your first and final friend. At the end, Mamin had a mocking expression on her face, but for some reason it looked splashed with tears. Mamin, Beelzebub, and Asmodeus were smashed and fell to the floor. Come over here, Sakataro. Ange is a little agitated right now. I think she's a little more than a little agitated. So you mustn't get close. What about everyone else? Are all the 7 sisters alive? Did they die? It's okay. It looks gruesome, but those are the remains of their vessels after being deported from the human world. Shells that have been shed. So it's alright. They're probably deeply hurt, but they're okay. Everyone is alive. I'm sure we'll be able to meet them again someday. There you. Thank goodness. Thank goodness. Ange has violated the contract of Mariage Sorcière. To do such a horrible thing, even the witches of the Alliance must respect and accept one another. Even though they were all important friends to you, Ange. No witches alliance has anything to do with this. Magic friends? Give me a break. I killed them. Erased them. I smashed the 7 sisters. Do you? That's so cruel. So cruel. Just give it a rest with this playing witches thing. I'm begging you. Mirio-ne-chan and Sakataro, I want you to disappear by yourselves. Even in my imagination, I don't want to kill and erase you. We aren't in your imagination. We're your friends, Ange. Do you? Sakataro said that as he hid behind Mirio-ne-chan, sobbing. Sakataro doesn't exist. Sakataro is also an imaginary creature One-chan created to distract herself from her loneliness. Do you? It hurts. It hurts, Maria. Why? Why? Do you? Do you? Stop it. Denying my friend is the one thing I will not permit. The same power that had smashed the 7 sisters was probably eating into Sakataro as well. But Mirio-ne-chan was apparently protecting him with some other power. So Sakataro's form didn't break and scatter. One-chan glared at me sharply. It was a serious expression I'd never seen before. Sakataro is my furniture. You cannot erase him, Ange. However, trying to deny someone is the greatest form of scorn for a witch. Sakataro didn't exist from the very beginning. He's just a lion stuffed animal, a phantom you personified with the delusions inside your own mind. That's not true! Sakataro is my friend. He was a stuffed animal once, but now he isn't. No, he's a stuffed animal. A stuffed animal made of cloth and cotton. He can't move or talk by himself. You're just talking for him like a ventriloquist, right? You call that magic? You call that a witch? You call that a friend? I can't accept that. Do you? Am I not me? Am I just a stuffed animal that can't really talk and not Maria's friend? Do you? As though struck with a high fever, Sakataro weakened bit by bit. As he clung to One-chan's body, he did all he could to continue standing, but his body began to gradually slip down. As he did, One-chan held him, yelling at me as tears streamed down her face. Stop it! Don't burn Sakataro with this magic-resisting toxin! Don't bully him! Don't insult him! Don't deny him! Mirio-ne-chan, you're so weird. There is no Sakataro. Stuffed animals are stuffed animals. I learned from Mama that they're made of cloth and cotton. There's no way they can walk or talk. Do you? Sakataro, you aren't a stuffed animal. You aren't a stuffed animal. You're a friend. Instead of playing with stuffed animals, it's better to play outside with everyone. I'm bored with stuffed animals already. I hate you, Ange. Why say something like that? Hate. I hate you. You're not my friend. I won't let you be one of us witches anymore. Upon my name, the Apprentice Witch of Origins, Maria, I hereby expel the Apprentice Witch Ange from Mariage Sorcière Alliance of Witches. And then, what had been peaceful days to me became a daydream and ended. And now it's impossible to prove. No one can verify whether that really was magic or whether those really were my friends, or else nothing more than a daydream. I, the sole observer, concluded that they were a daydream. So that became the truth. Perhaps in the farther future I'll observe it again. And when that happens, maybe I'll acknowledge that it wasn't a dream. That the Seven Sisters really were my friends, and that along with Maria, One-chan, and Sakutaro, they did everything they could for me in my isolation. Something so vague is neither the truth nor an illusion. Maybe the reality here and now is the only world with the real me. Where is the real me? The person standing amidst the girl's exposed wreckage that resembles broken glass structures, or sculptures, that girl who's breathing harshly, her shoulders heaving, isn't me. I'm over there. The me that's surrounded by a crowd and being showered by jeers and who's hanging her head, her eyes red. Isn't the me over there the real me? I won't dream anymore, because there's nowhere left to run. I'm going back. I'll return myself to the cage made of flesh. Hey, are you listening to us? It's not like anything will resolve if you just stand there hanging your head, right? I hear you. Ah, you finally answered. You aren't thinking that this will end if you stay silent, or will forgive you if you cry, right? We're asking if you're aware. We're asking if you're aware of the trouble you're causing those around you. I slowly nodded. I acknowledged it. I acknowledged that I'd slipped into the world of my daydream, trying to remain separate from the others in my class. To separate myself from and disgrace those sisters who spoke to me with reliable and kind words, despite being totally unable to help when I really wanted them to. I acknowledge that. I, Ushime Ange, do not have a cooperative attitude and cause trouble for my classmates. There is nothing to blame for that except my excessive inferiority complex towards all of my classmates because of my inability to study. And it's a shame that I'm alive. Starting there, I was no longer reading the paragraph they'd made me write. It was me, improvising. And it was what was in my heart. They noticed that it wasn't what they'd anticipated, but while they did frown, no one spoke. So I continued. That's right. It's a shame that I lived. I should have had them take me with one of them on that day in 1986. And yet I was the one who wasn't taken. Why am I here? This isn't the world I'm supposed to be in. No one will save me. For a time, I felt as though only the fictional friends I created inside myself could save me. But those friends were nothing more than a delusion, and they didn't save me at all. After all, this isn't a world of imagination, but a world of reality. So in short, up until today, I've been having the same daydream. I hated my real classmates and only lived by interacting with the friends in my mind. Just now, I split up with those friends. So I am here. I have no family. I've thrown my friends away too. There's no longer anything left for me. Why haven't I died? Someone asked that a short while ago. I think they're right. Why am I alive? I should have died in the year 1986. No, I must have really died. And yet my dead soul is still locked up inside this cage of flesh. So I'll ask someone. If no one answers, I'll do it myself. Please, let me die. I spoke that sentence and looked around. Dumbfounded girls. Shocked girls. Girls whose faces seemed to be saying, "What the heck is this kid talking about?" And a bit late, more and more girls with faces that said, "Is this girl alright?" Whispering, chattering, and then giggling. When I ordered the friends in my daydream to kill, they couldn't do it. And so, I asked real humans to kill me. But of course, these girls can't do it either. In other words, both daydreams and reality are the same. Doesn't this mean that, including this world, absolutely everything is a daydream? Then there's no problem, right? After all, on that day when I lost my family, I was already dead. Everything that happened afterwards is going on in my head, my life flashing before my eyes after I failed to die. Once I understood that, it felt like the scenery surrounding me began to twist and bend slightly. Yeah, I'll finally wake up. I'll be released from this daydream world. I felt my consciousness sliding away. That's alright. Fade farther and farther away and take me to my family. Then no matter what happens in this twisted, stale world, I won't mind at all. I saw the crowd get pushed aside as a teacher stepped in. Perhaps a teacher doing the rounds happened to notice a strange disturbance. The teacher was vigorously shouting something, moving to protect me. Watching that, I knew that an ally had appeared for me, even if there was only one, and I felt my awareness return very slightly. The only ones that can save me in this world of reality are real humans. Never again will I seek rescue from daydreams. This is the world of humans. Nothing can save a human except other humans. I see. If that's what you think, then that's your world, Ange. Can Ange find happiness this way? If Ange believes that's the only way to find happiness, then it is the only way. If she can't accept the blue bird in the cage for what it is, then she must go and search forever. Oh, you. Maria, are you breaking off relations with Ange? No, nothing like that. I only did that because that's what Ange wanted. We witches are sometimes persecuted. However, we always remain by everyone's sides, and our aid can always be asked for. Will the day come when Ange will play with us once again? Maybe. Or she might forget, and it'll never come. In the human world, we call that growing up and saying goodbye to your childhood self. Still, if Ange just remembers, we'll always be by her side. And until then, we'll be waiting. That certainly was a scene. And man, if you thought that was a scene, there's even more shocking stuff in the next section. But that's all the time we have for today. Very conveniently, like, the visual novel is actually technically broken down into, like, mini sub-chapters, which the Umineko wiki lays out. So I've been doing, there's, like, about 20 chapters, or, like, 20 sub-chapters in episode 4. So I'm trying to do, like, 4 per stream, so that it'll take us 5 streams to finish. And it's actually been perfect timing, because each one takes just under 4 hours, which is perfect. So we'll continue this. I want to do another Umineko stream this week, because I'm not sure if I'll be able to do another one next Saturday, because Octopath Traveler 2 will be out by then. So I might do another Umineko stream, like, Wednesday this week, just so we can get more out of the way before we get sidetracked by Octopath. But, like, again, this episode has a lot of, like, backstory and exposition, a lot of, like, establishing what magic is in this world and what it means, a lot of the recurring themes. And, like, part of me is like, oh, this is great and emotional, but part of me is also still like, I want to get back to the murder mystery part. Can we get back to that? I think it also doesn't help that everything's kind of presented out of order, because we have, like, Rokenjima, and then the meta world, and then, like, Ange in the present, but then she has flashbacks about her times in the academy. Like, these events in the academy already happened, right? That's why when she was in the meta world and she saw Mammon was, like, still kind of angry with her for the last time they met, and she, like, destroyed her, basically. And then in the present time, she's also at that hotel, resummoning the 7 stakes of purgatory after a long hiatus of not summoning them. So, like in the present day, she's still running away from Kasumi. So it's kind of confusing. And then when the meta world takes place and like when Rokenjima takes place, anyways. But we're gonna see more of like Maria and Sakataro and Ange. Maria and Ange are kind of the focus of this episode as well. So let's have a look at also this screen, because it's been updated. Because today was the first time we saw Sakataro in like human form. So we have our usual people, and then we have like the meta world here. So we have Ange. She's the piece of burnt Castell. She's friends with Maria, who's now wearing her witch outfit. We have Beatrice, of course, who's being supported by Lambda Delta. Kinzo's still here. He'll play a bigger role in this episode later too. And then Sakataro has been added. Look at him, he's so cute. It'd be a shame if anything bad happened to him. Just saying. And then there's the present day. So of course we have like Ava's dead, leaving behind Ange. She's being pursued by Kasumi, who is Kirie's younger sister. She has her bodyguard, Amakusa, who is hired by Okanogi, who's friends with Ava. She's friends with the imaginary version of Maria from her diary. And within there, the 7 Snakes of Purgatory. Again, they just kind of randomly pop them in here as you click them. And then we were also introduced to Professor Utsuki today, who is an expert on witch hunters and whatnot. So again, very interesting. The plot is taking a wildly different turn because we're introduced to Ange and the future and stuff, and it's going to play a much more important role later on. So anyways, thank you so much for joining me here on stream. Thank you so much for listening to me read and being engaged in the story and seeing your comments. I like seeing those. So we will continue this hopefully on Wednesday. I have a couple like small games I want to play between now and then, as well as a collab later this week, so have a look out on Twitter. I'll have my schedule up as well, so look forward to that. And then Octopath Traveler 2, of course, on Friday gets released, which is very exciting. So let's have a look at Twitch and see if anyone is streaming. I'm sure someone is. Yeah, thank you all so much for coming out. I appreciate it. Okay, looks like JP's still streaming. We'll drop in on him. Okay. Take care of yourself, guys. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.